Пошли. Все вместе. Какие ваши доказательства?
They want you to comply.
Cancel culture is about canceling.
Кокаином.
Up yours. Woke moralists. Up yours.
This is systematic bullying that's happening.
Woke moralists. Up yours.
And they believe that they can then
Woke
shut us
moralists.
up.
Up yours. Woke moralists.
They seem animalistic is what I mean.
No, they're worse than animals.
The woke mob, they ruin everything.
They stop Ben Shapiro from going to events and speaking. They stop Ann Coulter from doing it.
I will never surrender even a single inch of ground to a pitchfork mob.
You never cave to the mob.
We will never bow to the mob. Ever. No matter what.
Do you see the final expression of cancel culture in terrorist groups like
Up yours.
We'll see who cancels who.
And I'm just like, just kidding. I'm back.
Oh, look at these little hearts around you, Blair. Are those new?
Somebody in love.
I didn't mean to though. Hold on, let me put
I
that
like
up
that. I like that.
Oh, yeah, that's
I
cool.
have the cup, my little tea cup. There we go.
Cute. I like
We
that.
love tea.
Nice.
Well, good evening, everybody. Welcome.
Oh my God, Bender. It's the
Matt
earliest
Bender's-
it's been.
Holy shit.
Bender.
Hello.
Good evening.
Sorry, I was I'm surprised I'm early because I was playing a game of Fortnite. That's why I'm late.
Going to Tomato Town. Hell yeah.
Yeah, the season ends tonight, so I need to level up.
I feel like I've never heard you talk about games before. I don't think I knew you.
That you
even
play
played video games.
games?
Yeah, I'm not much of a gamer. I got into Fortnite because of my son. So he's 7 and he loves it. So I originally helped him, and I helped him get to like level 100, and then while doing that, I set up my own account, and then I started leveling up, and I was like, oh my God, I could do it too. so I'm trying to get my own account to 100.
Nice. Bender and I had a pretty epic games match on Twitch where we played Fall Guys, and I believe I won on one of the matches, if I'm remembering correctly.
Yeah, that was like that's like almost 2 years ago now, though.
That was a while. Yeah. David and I played. What was it? Was it Mario? It was one of the Mario games.
It was a Mario game, yeah, where you could play at the same time.
Yeah, that was really fun too.
Yeah. It was fun though, yeah.
Yeah,
that was great.
We need to do like some sort of a video game matchup or something like that. I think that would be fun.
Well, maybe with our new Discord, it'll be easier to set some stuff up.
Oh, right.
We are preparing our new Discord server. We have some amazing mods in there working right now and getting it all set up. We do have our subreddit officially, which has been around now for a week, r/the Leftist Mafia. And so far, everyone who's been posting there has been really great. Been seeing some great suggestions and great memes and great comments. And I'm excited for hopefully, what we're all going to be able to share with each other. It's going to be cool stuff.
Yeah. It's a great subreddit already. You can tell. And there was a post in particular that I loved. They asked, what's a good name for the fandom? And they came up with the mob. And I really love that. So
We're
mob
rolling
it
with
is.
it. Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
What I want is us to
Wait, don't we need to give it like a name that fits the mafia thing? Like, shouldn't we call them like the consigliere or something like that? Something that's
How's the mob associated?
What I want, forget Bender. Forget Bender.
It's like bourgeoisie. No one knows how to actually spell bourgeoisie. No one ever will. It's just one of those things. It's unknowable. That's the whole stuff.
If we're gonna have a mafia, what I want is my own sex division and gang. Y'all are free to do whatever you want. But I want that formed. Y'all can figure out what territory amongst yourselves that it belongs to me. Figure that out. I would y'all want a name, but I want my own block.
Absolutely, as you should.
Figure that out.
Oh, wait, so someone in David's chat said we should call it the family, right? I mean,
maybe that's what I should call the Discord server. Like, the Discord is the family. Well, so far the roles I have set up for us in there is I have all of us up there are the Dons, the admins are the Conciliere, the mods are going to be the bodyguards, and then we have the mob as like our general kind of role, and then for kind of our MVPs, special folks we invite on or any of that, we have a special role called the Associates.
Oh, I love it.
Maybe we should call the server the family, because right now I just have it titled as the Leftist Mafia. It's kind of lame. I mean, like, well, the name is cool, but like not for a Discord server. We got to be cooler than that.
That's a good name for the server. Yeah, the family.
Yeah, I'll change it to the family.
Okay.
Because we're a family here.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
hey, forget about it.
Forget it.
Hey,
By the way, we are
I
still
do
getting
not
comments
condone or
from the
endorse this
occasional person.
anti-Italian racism.
I'm still seeing comments like that from some people.
I
Like,
see them too.
get over it. It's too late now. We're not changing.
Like, we've gone all the way into this.
Listen, yeah,
Yeah, although I was talking to it was a politician, like a lawmaker from a state who I was considering bringing on my show, but I'm like, well, you know, there's a couple of different options. Maybe you could bring you on the Humanist Report or the Leftist Mafia, and it kind of feels weird where it's like where you're talking to a politician, like, yeah, it is what it sounds like.
It's supposed to be tongue in cheek. Like, do people take it seriously? Like,
yeah, it's tongue in cheek. I've always thought that.
No, we're the actual leftist mafia. Like,
I maintain that it's cute. I think it's cute.
Yeah, thank you.
I like it, but I envision like a Democratic politician or a socialist, for example, like getting attacked by this right winger who's like, "Oh, they went on the Leftist Mafia podcast. They think this is a joke." I mean, who cares what they think? But I just envision that they would be, you know, a little bit.
I'm gonna be real.
Like,
Listen,
okay,
I'm the least serious fucker on here. Okay.
Maybe we could go by a name that's G-rated for when certain guests come on. Like we could be like the left fellas or something like that.
I do like that.
Nah.
Gender neutral, by the way, when I say fellas.
Right. Right.
Or it could be the left family. There we go. Very welcoming. Very kind.
Jesus Christ. All right. Well, we've got a whole bunch of questions already rolling in this evening, and there's, I mean, a lot of news and stuff that happened this week. Is there anything anyone wants to bring up in particular before I start rolling in to what folks are asking?
I mean, I got random clips and stuff I can jump into at some point, but I don't have to right now.
David just no-selling Lance's little hand up in the air like he's a good little schoolboy.
Lance.
I'm trying to be a good schoolboy. I apologize. Can I do a quick plug? I got something new. Can everyone who's watching in all of our different platforms go to youtube.com/@mindexplosions. They're basically like BuzzFeed garbage videos about cute animals, sloths, the world's cuddliest bears, stuff that have agitprop in the middle of the videos. So go to youtube.com/@mindexplosions, and you'll get to learn cute things about sloths. Amazing cute animal facts, but you'll also learn about the lead industry actually was trying to lobby to get lead put into housing that disproportionately affected Black communities in America and also contributed towards an increase in crime within those communities. But it's just randomly peppered in. It's going to be like, oh, amazing cute sloth video, and then you just randomly learn a little factoid. So that's my plug.
Lance is so stinking wholesome.
Like trick people, like they're watching some sloth, all of a sudden it's like,
and have fun. You know, maybe the algorithms will be kind and they'll promote the sloth videos. There's a lot of people who've already subscribed. The comments are hilarious. To be like, I wanted to learn about lion facts. Why the fuck are you talking about Disney's copyright law extension? But you know,
I can't find it though. I'm just
youtube.com/@mindexplosion. You just youtube.com/@mindexplosions. Sorry, explosions with an S. @mindexplosions. youtube.com/@mindexplosions.
Doing something like that though could blow up in your face. Like it could cause people to have the opposite reaction. Like someone could watch that and get so angry that they leave purposely being pro lead poisoning.
I took a strong anti-lead poisoning stance. Okay, I want to be clear. Can I be on the record? I don't support lead poisoning. Yeah,
it's like the right when they see a rainbow, and all of a sudden they're getting a swastika tattooed on their arm, and they're going, "You did this to me! You did this to me, leftists!"
Like Glinner. That's basically Graham Linehan's like whole career. It's like, oh, the trans people did this to me. It's like, no, motherfucker, you're just a weird fucking obsessed sicko. That's all it is, you know. But yeah, I agree.
So, I mean, I'm sure we'll get to the latest we had this week with Elon Musk. So I don't know if we need to rush into that now, because that was ridiculous. You all saw. I mean, I think we all saw that. Oh, yeah. I mean, that was.
Oh, with the employer or the employee. Yeah.
Yes. I mean, I saw even some, not the hardcore sycophants, but some like, the usual type, the online entrepreneur who looks up to anyone who makes a lot of money. Even they were in Elon's mentions going, "Sir, I respect you gratefully, but I think you went too far here." Like, even they were like, "This is too much. What are you doing?"
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, maybe we should just get into that right now, because I think that was.
I don't have any of those links queued up though. So if anyone has
Blair,
those,
was that one of the questions? Did someone ask that?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, there's absolutely questions about that. So you're good.
Okay.
What did people specifically ask? Why don't you throw out some questions, then we'll make sure we hit them all.
Is Matt just emo Pete Davidson?
Me?
You asked.
That's not related to this topic. That's what I meant. Throw out the Musk questions.
Hey, that's a hell of a compliment. My dude, are you serious? That's you.
I was like, let's get into these Musk questions, and Blair's like, I'm gonna fuck with this guy. I'm gonna just.
I didn't mean to, man.
Bender, you short, right? Bender, you a short king, right?
You are the first person ever to like not have met me in person to assume I'm short. Yes,
you are, right?
I am. Yes.
Oh, you are.
I just went a mile a fucking way, and that's why I knew why that Pete Davidson characterization was incorrect. I wanted to interject for those purposes only.
Literally anyone I've ever met has always, except for you, seriously, the first person who only knows me online has assumed I was either tall or at least average height. I'm short. I'm like Ben Shapiro height, honestly.
Really?
I'm like 5'4", 5'5".
I clocked that. And Lance is you tall, right, Lance? How tall you are?
I'm 6'2".
Wow. Can you guess me, Olay?
You're like I feel like
how do you know
you're
that?
like somewhere like 5'7" to 5'9" range.
Damn,
I feel.
you nailed it. 5'7".
How about me?
What is happening right now? What is this magic?
What's David
goal?
This could go either way, but I'm feeling like you give me like a 5'10" energy, David. I feel like you're probably like 5'10" to 6 foot range.
I'm 6 feet.
Hey, fucking hey!
Wow. Why are you all so tall? What the hell's going on? Why are you all so tall? What are they feeding you Canadians? Yeah, what
We're malnourished American men, Matt. That's why.
I know nothing for Blair. I have no idea what the fuck you look like. I wouldn't recognize you in the street. I don't know.
I'm 5'9" for the record.
Woo! Wow, that's powerful.
And I love some heels too.
Wow.
It intimidates weak men.
I love that. That's,
how about you?
I don't know. I'm pretty sure if I saw a pink hooded triangle head walking down the street, I'd go, pretty sure that's Blair.
Yeah, I would clock that. Definitely.
How tall do y'all think I am?
I'm gonna go 5'6".
I was gonna go 5'4" to 5'7" or 5'9" to 6. But you're not like.
Actually, you know what? 5'5".
Yeah, I say 5'5".
5'5". 9, 5'6", 5'5", 5'8". Blair.
I'm gonna say like 5'4" to 5'6" range.
Your girl is 5'2". Okay.
Oh, really?
Okay.
Damn. I'm so jealous. I never assumed I would tower over Olay when I meet her in real life, but I will.
Pete Davidson over here.
First time in my life, I'll be walking up to someone like this, like, "Hey, how you do?"
If we ever have like a real life meetup and a real life photo shoot, it'll be like David, Lance, and Blair sitting on stools, and like me, Olay, and Matt standing up behind them with their hands on their shoulders.
Hell yeah.
That's hilarious.
We'll be equal that way.
You know, it's funny because our graphic. I was going to complain that Lance, I think, appears maybe a little too much taller than I am in that graphic. But now that I'm 6'2", I guess it's actually accurate.
No, I pegged Lance for.
I knew Lance was tall. I knew it. I could feel it. I knew it.
He looks like a tall guy.
Oh my god, I'm looking at our graphic, and it is the shorter people sitting down in front. Okay.
That's funny.
He looks like Lance looks like someone who would have played volleyball in college or something.
I did not. I fall over myself all the time. So like I wasn't good at sports. I liked playing basketball. I liked playing badminton, volleyball, you name it, but I wasn't good at any of them. I'm a goof. Like I'm a klutz. I fall down a lot. That was my thing.
Interesting that your two go-to sports were basketball and badminton.
Yes, the most masculine of all sports. That's the weird thing. Wait, I gotta ask this. Why does badminton get a bad rap? Okay, badminton's fun. It's a good sport.
I like it.
Why are people? Yeah,
I like it.
I'm sure it's a good sport. It's just a bizarre second choice.
What was the name of that sport where they played basketball with trampolines? Would that be the most masculine possible sport, the manliest sport ever? The one
is that murder ball?
It was a murder ball. You would actually there was a league that people would play and it was competitive and you had to bounce on trampolines and
there was like one year where it was like taken seriously, or they tried to like a serious league or something, I'm pretty sure, and then no one really took it seriously. But
well, it's quite a bit of foolishness. Come on, like just to watch it play out. I just watched it for the crashes. I was like, I just want to see two human beings smash into each other at a high velocity going from two trampolines. But yeah.
All right. Well, we've got Musk.
Elon Musk.
We get so much hate for being unstructured and not having like, what's the point of the show? And then Blair always tries to save us and be like, okay, so here's some organization. Okay, we got questions. Let's do this.
I mean, the
Elon
viewers
Musk.
have to love the like 20-minute, little tangent on our height and whatever.
Yes, this is part of what it means to watch this show.
True.
This is the program.
It's the whole start. In terms of like tabs for this, Bender, I'm just going to use whatever screenshot because you took screenshots of the back and forth.
Oh yeah, I have it on my Twitter. Yeah.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah, so I'll just use that to like at least the basis for it, and then we can go from there.
Yeah, that's perfect.
But,
let's pull those up. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it is honestly like, recently there's been a number of layoffs in some pretty big companies, especially in big tech. And some of these companies handle this worse than others, and then of course you get those like those rise and grind CEOs who do like the videos of them like crying as if they're the victims after like a big layoff. There's all sorts of terrible layoffs, ways that companies treat their laid off workers. But this was next level. Now imagine the scenario where you're laid off, but the company doesn't tell you. And you don't know for 9 fucking days that you don't have a job. You go through all the private channels. You go to your HR. They don't know your employment status. Like they literally say to you that they don't know if you're employed or not. And so you're forced to then go to your CEO in public, who just happens to own a social media platform, and he's the most followed user with 130 million followers. And you simply ask him, hey, do I have a job or not? Not complaining either way, just let me know so I know what to do with my life. And then he decides to demean you in public in front of these 130 million followers. That's what happened this week with Elon Musk. It is the most insane back and forth I've ever seen.
And there's like layers to this. So like it starts off like the initial beginnings alone are bad enough. So this guy, he's on here. His name is the former employee's name is Holly.
Yeah, it's his nickname. Yeah, he's a Icelandic guy. His background is like Elon Musk picked the worst guy to fight with. If he wanted to look, if he did not want to look like the world's biggest douchebag, he picked the absolute worst guy to do this with. This is a guy who won Icelandic Person of the Year this year. He is a designer who's well respected in the industry. He his agency was so talented, and he himself was so talented, that Twitter acquired his design agency in 2021 specifically for the purpose of bringing this guy, Holly, and his team in-house. Like, they didn't want anyone else to use them because they were that good. So that's why they even acquired the company, to hire this guy. And he suffers from muscular dystrophy, so he has a disability. He's been wheelchair bound for 20 years. But because of the treatment he received under the Icelandic social welfare system, he chose to get paid out by Twitter when the company was acquired in the way that would maximize how much in taxes he would pay to Iceland, to his home country where he lives. He wanted to pay more taxes because he was so grateful for how their social welfare system is set up and treated him when he needed it, before he was successful. So he also has this organization called Ramp Up that's building like thousands of wheelchair accessible ramps all throughout Iceland. This is like he's
a Giga Chad, like
he seems like an all around good dude. Yeah.
Okay.
And so, you know, he wanted to know if he was employed or not. Someone else want to read it, because I feel like I've been talking too much.
Yeah, so he says here, Dear Elon Musk, 9 days ago, the access to my work computer was cut, along with about 200 other Twitter employees. However, your head of HR is not able to confirm if I am an employee or not. You've not answered my emails. Maybe if enough people retweet, you'll answer me here. And
Lance, why don't you be Elon? Lance, why don't you be Elon?
What work have you been doing?
I would need to break confidentiality to answer this question here. If you have your lawyers share in writing that I can do that, then I'd be happy to discuss that openly.
I'm just going to interject here and say this is a moment in which Elon Musk 100% talked to nobody and just was tweeting. Like, I have no proof to this. I don't have anything that can actually like demonstrate that. But this just looks like someone's like, yeah, sure. It's approved. You go ahead.
So he goes through his whole history. Yeah, you don't have to go through. He basically lays out all the things he did while working at Twitter. One of those things is that he saved $500,000 for the company, renegotiating a contract with this design company. They create like an application. Well, actually, the contract is now with Adobe. It's an application called Figma. Adobe purchased it last year for like $20 billion.
Also add, for anyone who doesn't understand why Elon Musk is laughing at that, I think he thought that someone was saying ligma as in like ligma balls or, you know, ligma nutsack.
Yeah.
It's like an internet meme that most people know. And so someone said Figma, which is a program. And then he was like, lol, as in this whole thing was like a troll job or something.
Wow.
It would not surprise me if he didn't know what Figma was.
See right here. Like, it seems pretty. Why are you laughing if one of your employees says the program that people use to do this? You'd only laugh if you thought he said like Figma balls. Yeah.
He is such a weird person.
Wow.
Also, when he says all active design projects, he's probably not even like embellishing a bit. The guy was the lead product designer of Twitter. Like I said, guy ran a highly successful agency. They specifically bought his company to bring him in house. This guy probably was involved in every, you know, as a managerial role, overseeing everything. Probably was involved with every design project since he was brought on.
And then Elon Musk comes back later on, replying to somebody else saying, the reality is this guy who is independently wealthy, which is funny coming from a guy who inherited an emerald mine, said did no actual work, claimed as his excuse that he had a disability that prevented him from typing, yet was simultaneously tweeting up a storm. Again, weird for Elon Musk to claim that someone else is tweeting up storm. Can't say I have a lot of respect for that. But was he fired? No, you can't be fired if you weren't working in the first place.
Is Olay still here? I see that her video's off. We need to. I think we need to. Okay, I was gonna say we need to refer to a lawyer here about the possible things that Elon Musk just got himself into by describing in public these private details about this guy's disability. Now, I saw some Elon sycophants defend Elon here, saying that Holly, the guy he's attacking, is very open about his muscular dystrophy. Again, he's a disability advocate and activist. That doesn't give your employer just because I go around in a wheelchair. If I'm disabled and I need a wheelchair and I go around in a wheelchair, just because people could see I'm in a wheelchair doesn't mean my employer could go around and go like, look at this motherfucker in a wheelchair. You know what I mean? Like,
What I absolutely love about this is I think this is one of those moments where lawyers, like, have you seen that old Axe commercial where all the women just like run out of everywhere for like that one dude? I think every single fucking lawyer in the world was like, oh my God, like pro bono, we will take this case on, whatever you need. This is the best example of someone who has so much money in a position of power, publicly creating the evidence for the case. It's such a win-win. You know,
he's
like
absolutely going to be fucking sued. There's the whole coming. Yeah, that goes. I was gonna ask earlier whether or not the lawsuits had already started rolling in, or are they waiting to class action it up or something? You know, because he's gonna. All this is crazy. This is fucking nuts. Like this is fucking nuts. Listen, it's fucking nuts.
It's human.
The law isn't. It's if it feels crazy to you, it's crazy. You know what I mean? Like when you look at it, when it gives you, this is probably an issue. It most certainly fucking is. Like the whole thing about like the law is painted to people like it's this magical thing, right? But it's really just what the facts happen to be. Like it's not that the lawyer is gifted or no. What are the facts? How much do they have on you? And they have a lot on you when you put the evidence on Twitter. This is an employment discrimination. Oh my God. This is crazy. This is fucking nuts. You know, it's fucking nuts.
On the very website that the company
operates. Fucking nuts.
It's like,
yo,
it's just wild.
And then he follows it up with this. He has a prominent active Twitter account and is wealthy. The reason he confronted me in public was to get a big payout. From what I've been told, he's done almost no work for the past 4 months, middle management or otherwise. Despite his claim on Twitter that he did work, it turns out he told HR that he couldn't work.
Bro, he's talking about what he told HR on Twitter.
Right, that's like the added thing. Like even if his disability was public and that is something, it doesn't matter. But even if it did, he also told them specific things that his disability limits him on, like the typing stuff that is not public information that this guy is just throwing out there. It's just over the. Continue reading. I just can't believe this shit.
Where was it?
And so I got brought up something. Well, it was actually a TikTok that I saw, and it posed an interesting question. Do you guys remember back in like the 2008 recession? This is related to what we're talking about, I promise. Mm-hmm. In the 2008 recession, when Circuit City went out of business, right? Circuit City goes down, and a whole bunch of people realizing that Circuit City doesn't have an active HR anymore, so there's no way to verify employment. There were a whole bunch of people that all claimed they did certain things at Circuit City to essentially advance their careers because there was no way to double check that. What this tweet thing proves is that there's no active or viable HR department right now. So honestly, if someone's going to try and grift to try and do better at their job and get somewhere else, they pose the theory, why not say you worked for Twitter? There's literally no way to verify it. Elon proved that. There's no one fact-checking shit. Because if he did, he would not have probably said those things he said. Or maybe he would. He's kind of stupid. But like, maybe he did.
Don't try that at home,
there's not active HR. So get the grift. Everyone's worked for Twitter now. We've all worked for Twitter.
And then,
broadly speaking, all people shouldn't try this at home. This is
don't do this. This is very bad advice. It's very unethical. Don't do it.
The lawyers apparently got a hold of him.
Yes, the lawyers apparently got a hold of Elon Musk here.
He's so fucking stupid. I'm not lying. As somebody who is an attorney and like has people who work underneath you, if they say to me on the phone they have a headache, I cease to talk. Nothing further will be lobbied as a disability infringement against I. Enjoy. If they even suggest to me, if they even fucking suggest they need some time off, they feel stressed, I'd be like, take the week, take it, take it. You're not gonna sue me. You're not gonna Twitter thread me. This motherfucker is wild. Like, I can't believe like he didn't like set on fire from the stress of the lawsuit as he was typing all this shit. This many paragraphs. I was like, you mean to tell? And you know what's sick? You want to hear what's cyclical about this? The reason he's able to fuck up and say all this shit is because he increased the fucking characters. Him doing bullshit set himself up. Because why? If you just had your basic 280 characters like a reasonable fucking person, you wouldn't have gotten into all of this. But you done wrote a fucking treatise to be written up into the civil complaint. This lawsuit's gonna go nuts. Gonna go nuts. If I was him, let me tell you something. I would be at therapy immediately. I'd be at my therapist just talking about how stressed out I am because I gotta be. Because listen, let me tell you something. I'm gonna get you for everything, not just employment discrimination and everything. I'm gonna get you for. I'm not even thinking negligent infliction of emotional distress, intentional. And fucking intentional, and I'm gonna go to therapy, and I'm gonna run it up, and I'm gonna run it up, and I'm gonna run it up because you need damages, you need damages. So what? Are you serious? That's to the brakes off Elon Musk. What? I couldn't wait. I'd be in the lawyer's office like this. Yeah.
but he did go on to apologize. Does that save him? He says, "I would like to apologize to Holly for my misunderstanding of the situation. It was based on things I was told that were untrue, or in some cases true but not meaningful. He is considering remaining at Twitter."
The lawyers called him. The lawyers called him.
Yeah.
The lawyers said, hey. What the fuck?
He's considering remaining at Twitter. This guy ain't staying at Twitter. That was that guy being too nice in a video call where he was looking Elon in the eyes and said, "I'll consider it," because he seems like a nice guy. Yeah.
That reminds me. I almost forgot about the most amazing part of this story. He comes back at Elon. So I retweeted this thread because it was.
This is before the apology to be.
Fair enough.
It'd be really funny if this guy saw the apology and then started, "I don't accept your fucking apology, you piece of shit."
So yeah, that would be funny. But so he goes on to completely rip Elon apart, but in the most amazing, like, laid back way. He says, "Hi again, Elon Musk. Hope you are well. I'm fine too. I'm thankful for your interest in my health. But since you mentioned it, I want to give you more info. I have muscular dystrophy. There's many effects on my body. Let me tell you what they are. My legs were the first to go. When I was 25 years old, I started using a wheelchair. It's been 20 years since that happened. In that time, the rest of my body has been failing me too. I need to help get in and out of bed and use the toilet. For a long time, I thought my arms would remain strong. A doctor told me they would, but they ended up losing strength, which I don't mind telling you was hard to accept. But you okay the cards you are dealt, and I've managed to create a wonderful life. My family is the best. I have 2 kids. I see them every day. I recommend that. My wife.
Wait, hold on, pause. That right there, I think, is an underhand. People didn't realize that one. I have 2 kids. I see them every day.
Oh yeah, I recommend that. Yeah.
100%, that's a dig, no question. Yeah.
My wife is fantastic, strong, kind, smart, amazing artist. Couldn't be happier with her. About 9 years ago, I started a company called whatever it is.
Ueno or something like that. Yeah. Some Icelandic shit.
I worked a lot. It didn't do my body any favors, but it's what I felt I needed to do. The hard work paid off, and the company became very successful. We worked for more or less every big tech company. We grew fast and made money. I think that's what you were referring to when you say independently wealthy. That I independently made my money, as opposed to, say, inherited an emerald mine. But then after 7 years, I was tired. COVID was running for longer than 2 weeks. You said it for 2 weeks. Sorry, COVID was running for longer than the 2 weeks you said it would, and my body was also continuing to get weaker. After looking at many options, I decided to sell my company to Twitter. Financially, it wasn't the best decision. My company was making a lot of money, and Twitter's offer was lower than any smart valuation would say. But like you, I made a bet on Twitter having a lot more potential than it has had. I joined at a time when the company was growing fast. You kind of did the opposite. There was a lot going on. The company had a fair amount of issues, but then again, most bigger companies do, or even small companies like Twitter today. Ooh, anyways, I digress. Are you still reading, or is the bathroom break over? What was I saying? Yes. And then you bought the company and told employees you weren't firing 75% of them, which you then did. I wasn't in the first batch or the second or the fourth. I'm not sure which layoff round I was in. There were so many of them. Each one came after you promised the last one was the final one. During my time at the new Twitter, or 2.0 as you call it, I talked to my manager every week and asked what I should focus on. And then I proceeded to do those things, every one of them. I'm not sure if how much more there is, but. And now finally to my fingers, which I know you have great concern for. Thank you for that, by the way. I'll tell you what I told them. I'm not able to do manual work, which in this case means typing or using a mouse for extended periods of time without my hands starting to cramp. I can, however, write for an hour or two at a time. This wasn't a problem in Twitter 1.0 since I was a senior director and my job was mostly to help teams move forward, give them strategic and tactical guidance. And then he goes on to explain
the final one you're looking for. It's not part of this thread. He added it on as a separate thing. Go to his. You have to go to his his feed.
I'll have to. I'm not sure which one you're referring to.
The one about the bathroom. There's a second bathroom one. Other than
There's
the
a
one
second bathroom one. Okay.
Yeah, keep scrolling down. And this one's pretty good.
How far down is this going?
It was a couple days ago. So wait, a little bit more. Right there. I forgot to mention.
Oh, I forgot to mention that I read. Sorry, is that read?
That I read.
That I read. You can't go to the toilet on your own either, Elon Musk. I'm sorry to hear about that. I know the feeling. The only difference is I can't do it because of a physical disability, and you're afraid someone will hurt. Someone you hurt will attack you while you poop.
So apparently, right before, the day this all happened, there was a report earlier that day that Elon Musk is constantly flanked by 2 bodyguards while he's at Twitter because he's afraid that the employees there are going to stage an attack on him or something.
What the hell?
They watch the shit. Yeah.
How tall is Elon Musk? Since we talked about height earlier, because this is giving short energy.
I feel like he's probably
Excuse you.
I think Elon Musk is 6'2". Somebody fact check. I think he's 6'2". If I had to guess, I think he's actually tall, a big tall thing.
No, I refuse.
Somebody check. I feel like I know these things. He's a big tall.
He's 6 feet and 1.5 inches. Apparently, that's what I'm saying.
No way! I don't believe that.
I'm good. Listen, y'all can't see me.
How tall is Elon Musk? He's 6'2".
I saw 6, but
on top of that, I saw this happen.
What I say? What was my guess?
6'2".
I'm so good.
Elon Musk apparently asked managers at Twitter to nominate their best employees for promotion, then fired the managers and replaced them with their lower paid nominees. Is that legal? That doesn't sound legal to me. It sounds like
legal.
There has to be some issues with it.
Though. I feel like everything he's doing is what you'd expect a dictator to do.
Yes,
and then
very much.
It's been amazing because it's showing just every single leftist who's always been talking about the problems with capitalism. And if you have these people and CEOs and boards who have all this power and control over their employees, you're going to do super shitty shit. He's like the cartoonish version of that. He's doing everything, asking people, why am I not viral anymore? And they're like, because you're not popular, sir. And then be like, fired, away with you. And then I want to be more popular than Joe Biden. Make it happen. You go goblin mode right now, all of you, and make me more popular than the president of the United States. And they have to do it, and we're just sitting back and watching this whole fiasco.
I gotta say, that sounds like some
bite him in the ass, something's gonna bite him in the ass.
Yeah. That one sounds like some comic book villain type shit, like Green Goblin telling Spider-Man pick someone to save, and he picks Mary Jane, and then Green Goblin's like, Mary Jane, if you want to live, you must now kill Spider-Man.
That is what the Joker does in The Dark Knight, where he's like, we're having auditions, and then snaps the pool stick in half and gets them to kill each other to show their loyalty. That's what he's making. He's doing that in real time.
It's crazy. It's nuts. It's nuts over there. I can't believe. I mean, a testament to the people who built Twitter before Elon Musk came along that site's still fucking up.
Barely, but it's chugging along.
But it's clown shit.
It is surprising.
The other day, you all saw when the pictures just stopped, and it was API, user, HTTP plus, all that kind of stuff. And you're just like, well, this is clearly when someone stops repairing a car. The car will still work for a little while, but eventually parts are just going to start exploding, right? Like a Tesla.
Like a Tesla. I guess this is on par for him.
It helps to explain.
Did you see that Tesla? Did you see that Tesla's currently being sued by 2 separate people who claim that their steering wheel came off in the car? Literally, that Tim Robinson sketch where the guy just wants a car with a great steering wheel. Do you remember? Do you guys have seen that show? I Think You Should Leave on Netflix. You haven't seen that?
What's it called?
Oh my God! I Think You Should Leave. It's a sketch comedy show.
Leaving
I
to
think
watch
you
it
should
real
leave.
quick?
Yeah, that's the name of the show, Mike.
Okay, I'll check it out.
Oh yeah, I've seen the show.
Yeah.
I don't the sketch. I'm not remembering the sketch.
With the guy, the focus group, the car, the.
I just saw the most incredible comment I ever seen in my life, and I just wanted to point it out. Someone said, "Who is Olayemi? A YouTube person? She's always quiet when I'm on."
What?
You should like screenshot that anytime
I was
someone
gonna say
talk too much, just reply with that comment.
Yes, a quiet queen.
Yes, our quiet queen.
If we're ready to move on from Mr. Musk, I'm not sure why I just called him that. I do have a clip I wouldn't mind sharing, and then we can move on to whatever questions you have. All right. So to set this up, actually I wrote something down here just to make sure I get this.
Wait, it's just hitting me now. Did you call him Mr. Musk?
I did, and then I said I don't know why I did that.
Don't put respect on his name, David.
Yeah.
Maybe
did not mean to.
Different.
I wanted to respectfully get away from.
There's like an
Elon
outbreak
Musk.
going around, turning people into Musk sycophants, and all of a sudden we're going to slowly, surely, one by one, going like, "Yes, Elon, you
That's
did
the real-
a great meme,
that's the real
Elon."
woke mind virus. That's the actual woke mind virus attacking all of our brains.
Mr. Musk.
So this week, during a House hearing on the U.S. Strategic Petroleum Reserve, Lauren Boebert, of course, Republican representative, took issue with something that Cori Bush said, and you're going to see that here.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would like a parliamentary.
Let me turn this. Let me know if this volume. I have a little volume thing here in my tab. I'm not sure if it actually applies to when we're streaming, but let's see.
I think it still does. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would like a parliamentary inquiry into taking down the gentlelady's words, the ranking member's words, for insinuating that our witness made white supremacist statements using his words.
Oh, Jesus.
Okay.
Yeah. Everyone's like, what do we do?
You
with this
cannot
shit?
take down words that are directed toward a witness, only to other members.
As I was saying, the African and African American Studies Department, this is the quote, has 23 classes. In many of these classes, African culture is presented not as inferior to Western culture, but as on equal footing with it. In other departments, the same is done with Latin American, Indian, and American Indian culture, end quote. When confronted about these views over 2 decades later, rather than disavow them, he doubled down on this narrative saying, quote, "It has nothing to do with skin color. I was arguing that those cultures overall are inferior to Western culture." We are not inferior to any culture, speaking as a descendant of one of those cultures. This is the witness the Republicans invited to discuss issues of energy security. He came here to promote fossil fuels, which we know are disproportionately harming and killing Black and brown people.
Fact.
Last week, I joined Ranking Member Raskin and all of my Democratic oversight colleagues in calling on oversight Republicans to denounce white nationalism and denounce white supremacy in all its forms. Not one single Republican joined us. So
Didn't they denounce socialism?
Will my Republican colleagues condemn white supremacy and work with us to ensure this committee engages in advancing good and reducing harm rather than perpetuating it? That is respect. Our committee needs.
So, Lauren Boebert is like objecting because trying to claim, oh, how dare you call him call him out for saying white supremacist things. And then Cori Bush like clearly reads out the quote that is obvious white supremacist garbage.
Yeah, extremely racist.
How is what he said racist though? Like they're gonna do that for everything. It's so frustrating.
Listen, I really insist we stop like this. you know what frustrates me when it comes to racist and white supremacy is it's only then that we act like we need a confession to convict. Never is that the standard for anything else. Like, if you have all the evidence, you don't need anybody to confess to shit. In fact, everybody denies the charges in the entire criminal system, and you convict. And you fucking convict. But when it comes to white supremacists, we need to like engage them in the conversation. And I feel like is this a mistake to even condone them? Like, they need to be dismissed for the theatrics and the silliness. Of course, I love Corey. She killed that. She smoked that, for the record. All facts. And I do want to, in a moment, I want to build on her touch on environmental racism, but just as a general, I think that's why they keep us it's a politic of distraction. They keep us constantly playing that song and dance with them, because in the middle of trying to talk about something substantive, here you go, have to constantly defend the charge because for some reason we feel like we need them to agree to the charges. You know what I'm saying? It's like they should just be ignored. You're white supremacists. Just keep it pushing. Let's keep it pushing. Because Republicans don't accept the same level of political distraction from us. And I think that's what's important. Republicans do not stop to engage. You know what I mean? They just go rampaging on with their bullshit. And they don't care. Logic, facts, stats, whatever. Fuck y'all, foolishness. And they just run on. And I think that's what we need to do. Like, sometimes I think it's a mistake for us to get in the weeds with them. But on the environmental racism tip, I think that's something that's not being talked about enough, even from the angle of like Pop City being covered now, and they are intentionally downplaying that. They're presented like it's just a facility, it's just a training facility, rather than y'all are trying to clear 350 fucking acres of land of the forest that is there to protect this I think over 50% of Atlanta are Black people. And the forest is there to literally protect from overflooding, overheating, all of this, and you're gonna go clear the forest. That is environmental racism. And that brought me to this that I meant to tell you all about weeks ago, but I forgot because I'd be fried. I feel like we should show people the trailer for this thing called this documentary I went and saw called The Smell of Money. I'm about to send the link to our group chat. I feel like we should show the people that because it's amazing. And honestly, I don't want to explain it when the trailer's perfect.
Right before you play the trailer, I just want to also add to that, because I know there's some Canadians watching. In Canada, we do the exact same thing to Indigenous people. Like the bands in Saskatoon, where my mother grew up, there is just direct pollution that is put into areas, and they're highly concentrated around Indigenous communities, Native communities, First Nations communities. The environmental racism is not unique to America. It's something that is taking place. It takes place in Australia as well. If you look at what happens to Indigenous people in Australia, exact same situation. You know, it's the same thing. Like colonization kind of plays out the same way in globally, you know, around the world.
David, I sent the link. Watch the trailer.
They are poisoning our soil, poisoning our groundwater, poisoning people, fellow Americans. They are stealing from them in the present and stealing from future generations.
If it does not touch you in an emotional way, if you really get in to look at this issue, what's from an environmental standpoint, an animal rights issue, whether it's a human rights issue, whether it's an antibiotic use issue, if you can walk away from this saying, no big deal, you need to come talk to me, let me take you for 3 days and let you sit down and talk to these people who have to live with this every day. Matter of fact, let me let you live in their shoes for a day and see if it doesn't change your mind.
No, and ain't nobody helping us do nothing. They don't care because we Black. We back up in the country. I just hope my house don't get burned up tonight from talking to you. I'm sure he's somewhere peeping now. You can believe that. He got his boys on you.
What make you think you have a right to set up a hog farm and destroy my way of life? People don't have access to clean air and clean water anymore.
One of the most disturbing stories that I've heard is the sensation of being sprayed with shit, basically.
I have seen this stream filled with feces and urine from this hog operation right up here more than one time.
Almost every fish in the river died. Over 1 billion fish died in a period of about a week and a half.
Everyone that's on this road got to help Faith. Every one of us, trust me.
Our health is at stake here. To raise animals in this way puts all of us at risk.
It is time that the village stand up, step up, and speak up.
If these people had lived in McMansions, it would have been a different story.
It's the power to control. That's what drives man to the end of sanity.
All the laws protect these industries. No one is protecting us.
Powerful.
Yeah, that looks great.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. I watched the whole thing in a screening, and it's like this. I believe it's in the Carolinas, where it's like the largest hog farm operation, where basically all of this is happening. And right next to this like little Black community, they are that entire cesspool there and spraying it onto these people in their homes, and they are ill and dying like for generations and suing. And they finally, they sued like many of them, and they have to keep defending these lawsuits, and then they're dying before they could even get a penny, and it still hasn't stopped anything. The fact that they are just spraying this and killing these people, and these are homes they've lived in for generations and generations and generations. It is incredible. And I just thought it was a really moving documentary, because when you hear environmental racism, that's not something that's not in the mainstream. People don't know. They just think you're throwing something out there, or this is happenstance. They don't understand that. So I think it's important to provide these concrete examples of like how this works, how they get the laws, how they set this up, and they do this to particular communities, and what environmental racism really is, and what it is to poison the air, poison the water, which you see in Flint, Michigan, and Black communities, and these kinds of things. Like that's what environmental racism is. So that's the end of my contributions tonight.
And then you'll see like people like I think it was JD Vance, might have been today. He claimed that people in East Palestine, Ohio, after the derailment, they're being ignored because they're white. That's his claim. Meanwhile, there are like countless examples of communities that are not white that are being impacted by this sort of thing, and it's ridiculous to claim.
Also, white people dying from environmental disasters is also bad. It's like I never get that gotcha where it's like, well, no one cares about the story, no one talks about it because it's affecting white people. No one ever talks about how white people are killed by police officers. It was like, that's bad too. That I don't want that to also happen. I would rather that white people were just, like, of course. Why? Like,
and look at like who when it comes to the parties, clearly obviously in terms of leadership, not much is getting done. But for people who in those parties that actually are trying to do something, who like what party are they with? It's the Democratic Party. Mm-hmm. Like that is the only side that's actually trying to deal with any of these issues in any sort of way whatsoever. So for Republicans to claim that they're the ones fighting for this shit is just so dishonest.
Yeah. They're all going with that whole narrative that East Palestine is being ignored because they're white. I saw Benny Johnson say something like that too. When it's so ridiculous, because I mean, Flint, Michigan, they are only now starting to replace the pipes to get them clean drinking water. It has been years. I mean, there's that photograph of Little Miss Flint, like she's holding the sign, and then you could see her basically like grown up, still asking for clean drinking water, and they haven't replaced the pipes that go into the house, like the houses. So it's still not an issue that's been solved. So it's
still fucked.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
I hate to be a broken record here, but there's almost 40 reserves in Canada, Indigenous reserves, that also don't have clean drinking water, despite the fact that Justin Trudeau, the Prime Minister, the blackface guy, said that he was going to handle that as a campaign promise. So just get us through that. Yeah, well, I mean, that's
you don't know who Trudeau is, the blackface.
He didn't know it. Yeah, that's all. I'll refer to him from now on. But yeah, it's a problem here, fucking too. Like just environmental racism is a thing, and like it's one of those aspects where it's like it sucks. This is like this intersectionality. This is a cross where both you can see there's a capitalist incentive in order to be able to go through Indigenous land, put pipelines through Indigenous land, and clean drinking water that lands there. But at the same time, the Federal Police Service of Canada is going to go attack them for the glory of the corporation, right? Like the corporate interests are upheld in Canada just like they are in the U.S., just like they are globally. For it just sucks. It's reality.
Well, what it is too is it comes down to something that I believe we now call sacrifice cities or sacrifice zones, and it's obviously the EPA is not super well funded on everything, even though they're trying. So essentially, these are just geographic areas that are being labeled as permanently impaired by heavy environmental alterations or economic deinvestment through locally unwanted land use. Essentially, in these zones typically exist in either low income or minority communities, because these companies are able to get away with this shit. And then essentially when these health risks become too much to them and stuff, it's not worth cleaning it up. So they just abandon them in these communities. The reality is Flint could have been fixed, and it wasn't. And it has become a sacrifice city. Like, it could have been fixed. This could have been stopped if people cared and if the right authorities were in place to actually take advantage of being able to fix this issue. And they didn't, because it wasn't worth their time. Why? Why don't we take a look at the demographics of who's in Flint, Michigan, and how those people in that state felt? There's literally a middle of the US that's called like the Cancer Belt or something, where a shit ton of low-income families live in these sacrifice cities and sacrifice zones. They don't get a choice. They can't just move away. They're stuck there and they have to live in that. They will die in that, and their children will, like, they will die in that too, and they will all suffer, and they don't get a choice.
Because the reality is, it's not a problem to fix. It's deliberate. That's just the thing that people don't want to accept. It's not an awareness thing. It's not a matter of their, yes, it's exactly. These things are institutionally set up. That is how it is meant to be. They know exactly what it is that they're doing. There's a reason why other communities have the infrastructure and why these things are done there. They put them there for a reason. You know, there's a reason why they say we could put the hog farms next to the Black communities. We could do these different things there, because that's why all of it is systemic, but also and it's institutional. But the thing to remember is, originally these things are all set up. They're set up to run. They didn't just like happen over time and it's embedded. You know, it didn't just roll into racism and then it's embedded. It's like no. The plan set down, the infrastructure setup was to play out this way, and that's why it's not a problem to fix. It's not a matter of, oh, they don't care, they don't know, they don't whatever. I always try to remind people that awareness is for us. Right? Awareness is not for the powers that be. And sometimes we get it fucked up that we think that we need to be making the powers that be aware of something. They fucking know. They're the ones they knew first. You know what I mean? They're doing it. Everybody in the court is aware, right? Like, I know what's happening. The judge knows what's happening. The prosecutors all know what's happening. It's the public. Awareness is for the public, because when the public becomes aware, if the public can get so mobilized around something, if the public can change what is acceptable, politicians, in order to maintain their power, feel compelled to do what the populace says that, you know, they need to do, or whatever. If the populace expresses that outrage, which is why they do their best to suppress the populace from learning certain information. But awareness is not for the powers that be. It's not a mistake. It's not like, oh, there's some shit going afoot and you just don't know the number to the powers that be to let them know. We have the most direct access to the powers that be than ever before. This isn't the times of yesteryear. We aren't the founders writing the Federalist Papers talking about how word of mouth might travel if we get some factions. Bro, we have Twitter. We at them. They fucking know. They reply to you and shit. They see it. They know. They're fully aware.
I was going to say it's the exact opposite. They're spending time distracting all of us with candy. Being like, hey, by the way, did you know these non-binary Skittles are no longer woke? Like, what the fuck is this nonsense? Now I'm really mad. I'm so mad at chocolate. I'm very mad at Dr. Seuss and chocolate. Mr. Potato Head is no longer Mr. Potato Head. It's Potato Head. The world has fallen apart. And meanwhile, you don't think about the real problems that happen. You don't think about the real things that actually cause all these, like, you know, your actual oppression, how your life is actually made shittier, like in a multitude of ways.
Yeah, a political distraction.
Mm-hmm.
Blair.
Yes, let's continue. So we have a lot of questions and people asking our thoughts and opinions on Marianne Williamson. Like a lot of questions.
I want Olay to go first.
Marianne
I don't know.
I saw that face.
I want to set the tempo.
I ain't got nothing to say. No, y'all have about that. Y'all have about that. Knock yourselves out.
I don't mind going first. So I have a bigger breakdown on my channel this week. My first video on it. Basically, I don't know. Point is, she's not going to defeat Biden for the nomination. Just to quickly clear anybody that thinks that is a possibility.
That's not the point.
It's not like Bernie Sanders. It's not like Donald Trump. Voters on the right vote because of emotion, that kind of thing. Democratic voters vote usually based on media narratives, based on what's comfortable, based on who they're told is electable. That's not Marianne Williamson. We're talking about a primary. We're talking about incumbency in Joe Biden. So it's not like 2016. Williamson's not in government. So anyways, she's not going to be Biden for various reasons. Watch my video for more on that. In terms of, whether this is a serious run, whether it's to sell her books, my point on that is that her intention doesn't matter as much as potential impact, and the potential impact, if she is covered, which I don't think she will be past this week, but if she is covered by the media, by mainstream press generally, then there is a potential there to have what she is discussing in her platform, which is a good, it's the working class message. It's a Bernie message. There is a good chance that could, maybe stop Biden from trying to just grab right-wing voters, is what, these runs typically try to do. They try to go after voters on the right as opposed to bring out new people to vote, is how Democrats should be trying to win. But I don't have much faith that's going to happen, because I don't think she's going to be covered, really. So regardless of her intention in the run, I don't think that matters as much as the potential impact, but that impact really, I think, is going to be negligible. But I don't know.
I agree with that.
Watch my videos more.
Do you want to plug before I say something?
Go ahead.
I was going to say, if she uses this as like an opportunity to basically go on mainstream media and then be like, hey, we should end the military-industrial complex, that's cool. So I'd be fine with that if that's like the extent of it, right? And like, Biden should probably not expand the amount of money the Pentagon's asking for weapons and bombs, and not do that thing. That'd be great. So if that's all there is to it, then yeah, I don't really have any opposition to the run, so to speak.
Yeah, honestly, there's really no.
And to be clear, she has been doing some, she has been doing that in interviews this week, and I guess last week. She has if you go to her site, a solid platform, and she's discussed it, and she's I think a solid orator for at least a certain audience. But I don't think past this week there's going to be a whole lot of talk about Williamson.
Yeah, I mean, there's no downsides to her running. I think that for the left, there's only positives. I'm going to be voting for her in a primary. Like, why not? I don't want people to get their hopes up and think that there could be like another Bernie Sanders situation, because as David said, like, this is a primary challenger to an incumbent president. She has a near zero chance of winning. So best case scenario, she can kind of exert pressure on Biden or elevate the salience of particular issues. And that does matter. Like, that's not insignificant. I think that does matter. But in terms of like, there's like this sub conversation going on about whether or not she should have ran as a third party candidate. None of that matters until we actually change the institutions, because our institutions are set up so there was always just two parties. It's called Duverger's law. So what she's doing here is, I think, the best that she can to influence the conversation. And regardless if that is to promote a book or something like that, I honestly don't care, as long as she's talking about these issues. Like, she's talking about Medicare for all and healthcare. I love that. I value that. So if she brings that to the table and gets Biden to maybe do better, which probably not, but Biden ran away from a public option. So to recenter the conversation on Medicare for all, when we were kind of skewing further right and not even discussing a public option, I think that is important. So like, to the extent that I'll support Marianne Williamson, I'm voting for her. I'm not going to donate any money, unfortunately, and I can't recommend that other people do the same, because it's like, we're stretched thin, right? There's other members of Congress that we want to see get elected, or potential members of Congress that we want to see get elected. So, you don't have to get super invested in this. Don't get your hopes up. It's just, this is about messaging. Period. End of story.
You're all being very nice. Listen, I think she, as a person who's put herself out there, she seems like she believes what she says, and she seems like a very nice individual. But this run, what's behind it? Nothing. There's nothing behind it. I'm not going to tell someone not to run. Anyone who wants to run should run. But the whole point of pushing someone, if you're running a campaign, even if the point is you're going to lose, but to push someone, there still has to be a movement behind you. That's why Bernie's campaign was so successful. That's why those left-wing campaigns that just try to push someone towards the left are more successful, because there's some sort of movement behind them, or the individual is a well-respected, long-time person within the scene, the leftist movement. She's just not that. There's nothing behind her. The idea that she's going to push Biden anywhere is, and I say this as someone who thinks she's nice, it's laughable. It's laughable. She's not going to be able to do any of that. She isn't. And I'm saying she should run. She should run. She should do whatever the hell she wants. I like her. I like what she says. She just doesn't have that long-term standing within the left. Like, I remember in 2016, when did she run? In 2020 she ran, right? Yeah, I remember in 2020, like, she was like learning as she went. She was like asking people after a debate, what do you all think of Medicare for all? Because that wasn't her original position. And she saw that.
Mind. Yeah, she went against it because someone brought up how, like, wouldn't private insurance be like abolished? She's like, it would? Oh, I'm against it now. Like, she changed.
Like,
listen, on the fly, she changed her mind. Like, what the hell?
It's great if she changes her mind or whatever, but if you're gonna be that strong candidate who's gonna push the president of the United States left, you need some, you need something behind that, and she doesn't have it. She doesn't have that.
Groups, something. Yeah. I in my first video on that, I mentioned as well. Like, has she been building this for a couple years? Because it doesn't seem like it. It's more just like all of a sudden, I'm running for president. She has a nice graphic, and I don't know. I guess there's some money behind her somehow. But there's no. It does. I agree with you. It's just there's nothing that's going to happen.
I respect that she's running as a Democrat and not third party, so she could play some sort of spoiler role. Because I mean, she knows what her role here is, or what she hopes for it to be, and it's not that she's going to be president. It's that maybe she builds a movement or pushes Biden. But I don't see any sort of trajectory there. It just doesn't seem like that's the case.
In her defense,
I just don't see it.
Like, I think that most people acknowledge that this is an incumbent president Democratic Party primary, so it is really hard to generate a movement or excitement. Like, if this were just a blank slate and this were the 2028 primary and it's a free-for-all, I think that there's more potential there. But when you're going up against an incumbent president, that is so difficult.
Tell us on her, Mike. You say you would vote for her. What would be your pitch for her? If you was the chief of staff right now, you're trying to get us to vote for her, what would you say? Why are you giving her your vote?
Because she's not Joe Biden. That's it.
I would just say, I mean, in a primary, it doesn't really matter, right? Like, it's a primary. That's kind of the pitch.
She's to the left of Biden, and if somebody else emerges that's to the left of her, like if we get a real commie, I'll vote for the commie. Anyone who's not Biden is my small, teeny tiny, insignificant way of sending a message to the Democratic Party that they don't give a shit about, that, hey, Biden sucks ass, I'd like somebody better. But at the end of the day, it really, in the grand scheme of things, I hate to say it, folks, doesn't really make that big of a difference, right? I appreciate the substance that she brings to these conversations. I think it's really important. Again, like, I feel like she's done better with regard to Medicare for all, and she has the facts and the figures down. And when she's gone on these interviews, the way that she speaks about Medicare for all in particular is really, really beautiful. So I appreciate that. But at the end of the day, in terms of getting power, it's going to be almost, like, I'm not going to say impossible, but we're talking like 0.00001% chance of her winning a single primary. So I just don't want people to get their hopes up as they did, like, with Bernie Sanders in 2016 and 2020, because this is about the messaging and trying to shift the Overton window to the left, in my view. And that's really it.
But could you phrase that in the form of an attack ad and use the attack ad like voice too? Be like, in a world where Marianne Williamson, and play it all out.
But the problem is, though, like, listen, again, if she pulls off something, and I'll be happy to eat my hat. I'm not like,
you're not wearing
I'm not Mr. Pro Joe Biden or whatever. But she's just not the person. She just doesn't have that long standing, like, and there's not many people either who can do it, and who have that. I know you could easily just throw out Bernie, but look, even Bernie has his limits. He's pushed Joe Biden as far as probably Joe Biden will go left. Like, if Bernie, if Bernie came out today and said he was going to run a campaign, I'm sure the Biden would be worried, and his people would be worried because that's someone who can mount an actual campaign against him. But even then, how far can Bernie push Joe Biden? He's already tried to do that, and we've seen where that goes. I mean,
Biden is
I hate to say it,
implementing the family separation policy. Like pushing him at all is going to be really fucking hard.
It also just seems like there's very little appetite, at least right now, for a challenge to Biden. Like you can look at polls, and I've cited these polls where like most people do not want Biden to run again; they want somebody else. But when the rubber meets the road, like there's not really going like. At least for a Marianne Williamson, like it would have to be someone like a Bernie, and even then, I don't think I would want him to do it because it's this. I don't think it would be successful, and it would just kind of be a dud. Like, again, you're going up against a president. It doesn't.
Yeah, it's good. Any Democrat that primaries a sitting Democratic president is basically asking for their career to end that way.
Yeah.
They will never be looked at the same.
Historically,
they will never be looked at the same again. Yes. Yeah. I mean, listen. I saw polls that within the Democratic Party, Biden's approval rating is way up.
Which is so sad.
Especially with young people, especially the 18 to 29 demographic approve of Biden more than any other demographic.
It doesn't surprise me. The alternative is like trans people shouldn't exist. That's the other side. Yeah.
No
So like for a
alternative,
young person who like most of them are like they're in touch with this kind of shit, they see that. Yeah, obviously. If I was looked over, okay, so what's the alternative to this fucking war criminal 1994 crime bill, creep show, smells women's hair? It's the elimination of queer people from the earth. Well then, yeah. So I'm gonna go with the
Not
first
to mention like everything. Like it's just like this or fascism. Like that's kind of
that's it, right?
That's what people are looking at. So all of a sudden, Biden looks mighty fine compared to that.
Yeah, he looks great.
If ever there was a point in time that the Democrats were right to use the GOP boogeyman argument, not to excuse their terribleness, but like if ever there was a time for them to use that argument and have it land, it's right now. I mean, like, I don't know how close we are to the death camps, not to be hyperbolic, but it's bad. Like, we're having Republicans openly call for the eradication of transgenderism. It's scary. Like, there's actual organizations now. Somebody just reached out to me personally, who I'm going to bring on my show, who's trying to transport people out of the United States who are trans just to save them or get them into different states where they're going to be more safer. Like, it's a bad situation right now. So I hate the Democratic Party. They're terrible, but there's just not even a comparison to the Republicans at this point. They're just so far beyond the pale and such a threat to democracy and the world that the whole lesser of two evil thing doesn't even apply in this instance. Like, we're talking about like a force that can like crush the country and lead to genocide.
And on that point, like groups like the one that Mike just mentioned, that's where a lot of people's energy should be going towards. Like, I think sometimes people on the left get maybe a little, and this is in terms of like what I do. I cover politics, I cover news, but if you like, don't put all your hopes and dreams in like an election every 4 years. Like that isn't the end all be all, right? Like there is movements being built on the ground. There are groups doing active, like fantastic work. That's where your hopes should be at the moment. Like don't be thinking, oh, look at these people call themselves Leftist Mafia and they won't even back Marianne Williamson. Like that's a ridiculous way to try and look at any of these issues or politics generally. It's not about the election every 4 years. It's about what else is going on in between.
I also think there's an internet left that gets carried away sometimes and loses any sense of nuance. Like, there are people that are like very much so to the left because they are organizers and people engaged in actual movements and things every day that don't care to be involved in politics from the sense of like football and are not interested with who like the internet left has decided they really love and are keyed into and is like rallying around. And some people don't have the luxury to be that interested on an ideological, philosophical level that they put together in their online communities that they really want to back a particular kind of person. Some people are particularly busy. And I think like, I straddle the worlds of like, for me, I don't care about politics on a football level of what the Democrats and the Republicans and who's doing what and their little faction of the day. I don't find it interesting if it doesn't, insofar as it converges with what is happening with like people and particular things and that I'm following and movements and shit that I care about. I verge on that. And then also being That's one side. And then to me, if I'm gonna bother to care, then it becomes about what makes sense, which is a different set of brain. And so in either world for me, the Marianne Williamson thing doesn't get me geared up in either brain. Like neither brain. And sometimes I also think sometimes there is not a true there are different kinds. There's a much wider political spectrum than we care to like acknowledge, and there's a lot of nuance to things. Like there's a left, there's a black left, there's all these kinds of things. And sometimes who we've decided is the most progressive, because that's who's in our face, and then by our I mean like white mainstream. What is the conversation we're having on the internet and stuff like that is the most leftist progressive thing is really not all too as what you think it is. Like it's not, yeah. So for me, I'm just like, you know, I'm all for, but I will say I see a lot of the comments. People are very interested in her coming on. So if that is a thing, I would just say I will sign on to that. I'm all for the people being able to. I have no opinions. Y'all know I can't vote. Don't nobody look this way. Don't listen to me. Don't say I told you what to do. Nah, I can't even vote. This is a Bahamian. I mind my business. Can't vote in nobody's primary. Marianne was the only candidate in 2020 for full-on reparations. Why'd you scream that at me? You said at Miss Olurin, Marianne was the caps lock only candidate in 2020 for full-on reparations. So because I'm black, my flagship issue is reparations. That's straight. That's fucking wild. Jesus. That's wild. That's powerful. That's powerful.
Not to other you, but
I don't know.
I'm
just y'all keep it. Everybody have it. Yes, I'm a Bahamian citizen, Rachel.
You should care about this. You should care. This is a crucial issue to you.
This tab here's for Binder.
This poll is the perfect showing of what we're talking about here. This is a poll, a University of North Florida poll, speaking to Florida voters. Florida voters prefer Trump to Biden 50 to 43%. They prefer DeSantis to Biden 51 to 42%. But when you ask them about policies, 75 to 22% oppose the 6-week abortion ban. 77% to 21% oppose concealed carry laws. 61% to 35% oppose banning CRT on campuses. They literally support the candidates who want to give them the things they don't support. There is a disconnect here.
Yeah.
Between what they're being sold, right? Between what like they're being told by the millionaires paid by billionaires on a regular basis to what actually is going to play out.
Like, I would normally say it's because they value their racism over everything else. But when you even have ban CRT and they're opposing that also kind of flies in the face of that idea. They're really just fucking stupid.
Yeah, exactly. Did you see that poll from Kentucky that Aaron Reed shared where it showed that there is no support, even among Republicans, for banning gender-affirming care? Like a majority of Republicans in Kentucky are against it. So they keep voting for these politicians who are doing what they don't want, and then they're wondering why nothing's changing.
But it's wild. Like, did you see that? Who's the governor of Arkansas right now?
Sarah
Huckabee Sanders. Yeah, Sarah Huckabee Sanders is like, okay, so I'm going to change things. Yeah,
Bernie Sanders' wife.
Yes, exactly. I'm going to change things for people. She bans CRT.
Sorry, go ahead.
I'm going to ignore that. That never happened. So banning CRT and making sure woke ideology is destroyed. Same thing with like DeSantis in Florida. This is where woke ideology goes to that. Like they brought fucking Matt Walsh to speak in Mississippi about like children's genitals and stuff like that. Matt Walsh, that has like Mississippi has the highest rate of infant mortality in the United States. That motherfucker does not like give two shits about the healthcare of children, and this is a serious problem. This is an incredibly impoverished state. It's got a lot of issues. What are you going to do to help the people? What's the governor going to do? And it's like, well, I'm going to invite the white supremacist Matt Walsh to talk about how kids' genitals need to be inspected by him. That's like it's such a clown theater. I don't know how else to describe it. Every time I see this, where it's like the very politicians who pretend to care and speak to their constituents. They don't give two fucks. They're totally fine bringing these bigots and assholes and racists and transphobes to speak. Meanwhile, people are dying and suffering, and like, but you do nothing. You just sit back and be like, distractions.
Yeah, it's
I've been mulling over this. The Sarah Huckabee Sanders is actually Mike Huckabee and Bernie Sanders' child. That's what I'm going with.
How does that work?
I can't be part of this.
That sounds like some woke nonsense to me, Matt. Two men having a kid.
It's just terrible.
Speaking of,
like, Sanders is not that is not that unique of a name. Like, there's as many Sanderses is in the world.
David Doel is Bob Dole's son.
That's cat's out of the bag.
Famous
All right,
American.
so
You don't understand though. Like when that shit was popping off, like when Bob Dole was on The Simpsons in the 90s, kids were calling me like Bob Dole. It was a thing for like a year.
All right.
Anyways,
so a more personal question. I think I saw this one last week and we didn't get around to it, so I see it again. So I'm gonna ask this. This one says, "Hey Mafia, I'm glad to have found you guys. Unfortunately, I'm the only leftist and proud socialist in my family. My immigrant family has been slowly being consumed by the Fox News brain rot. What advice do you have for someone to cope with this loss? It hurts to recognize it, but if fascism comes to rise, I would not trust my family because I know they'd betray me in a heartbeat. Thank you guys so much. Viva la revolution."
Well, the first thing that I want to say to that person is
You just gotta
work
up that courage to. Just gotta work up that courage to take them out.
Damn. I
feel like you're building to something there.
I know. I thought you were gonna say something genuine, and you're like, just take them out.
No,
Fuck
I
that.
could tell Bender was building to something that.
He's so devious. No, I was gonna say, listen. And
Never go against the
I'm
family.
saying
That's what
this
it is.
Earnestly, okay. If you have access to your grandparents' or family members' television, and I'll have a more serious answer in a moment, but this is also a serious recommendation. Set the parental controls. Do not tell them the password. Block Fox News. Literally do this. Like, you will save them from brain rot, and then just play dumb. But you have to do it when they can't catch you. But in terms of like, how do you deal with this? How do you cope? If you think that they're honestly too far gone, and that's an assessment that only you can make, and you honestly think that they pose a danger to you, then there's no harm in cutting them out. I've had to cut off family members who are extremely homophobic, and it hurts, it sucks, but you have to. It's not wrong to be selfish when it comes to personal safety and your own life. So if they honestly are a threat to you, cut them off.
What is up? I'm gonna be serious now. What is the part that's appealing to them? Is it the whole right wing, or is there something that they're obsessed about? You know, a lot of immigrant families obsess over the fact of illegal immigrants. Because somehow I see this a lot, where they came here legally, and then they get angry that people who are escaping all sorts of brutality in their home country or just seeking a better life, generally come here through other means, and that sort of radicalizes them. I've seen that so often with immigrant families. It's very sad dynamic, but it's something that happens a lot. Is that the case, or were they just like normal, and then all of a sudden the pandemic hit and they started reading QAnon shit on Facebook? Like what are we talking about when we're talking about like were they always right wing? Did something happen? I feel like it depends, because based on that you would go about it differently.
Yeah, COVID broke a lot of people's brains. So if you were already kind of like predisposed to conspiratorial thinking, like COVID-19 was the dam bursting. And a lot of people, I've seen like even in my own family, have become radicalized. Like nobody got de-radicalized because of COVID. Like so many people just went into cuckoo land. And, you understand why, right? There's like mass hysteria. There's a lot of uncertainty for the future. There's conflicting information. So it's like the whole climate in the United States and around the globe really was ripe for really radicalization. Like I see Vince in the chat who says Mikey wanted everybody to be forced with the jab. It doesn't get more dangerous than that. Bitch, stop being a pussy, get the vaccine, and I still want to force you to get the jab. Suck my dick.
Not them in the comments policing what kind of weed I smoke. Olayemi, you need to
Sorry, internet. Why are you so weird sometimes? Stop being weird, internet.
Mind your business. Is it possible that I can't, You know, everybody get on my black ass for everything. I talk too much, I talk too little. How you want me to answer this white people question? You think I got a bunch of racist family members? Like, what do you think? I can't get in this. I sat I had nothing to contribute. My family don't watch Fox.
Yeah, same here. I've been super lucky in terms of like there's some people in my family that are maybe, you know, anti-vax, but it's nothing too crazy where I can't speak to them, and you know, it's for the most part no one that is really close to me is super right wing, thankfully. So at least that I know of. So
even in your family,
I have a hard, you know, so I have a hard time even knowing how to deal with something like this because I've never had experience with it.
I'm not even exceptionally high this episode. These comments are crazy. I'm like, I look high as fuck every episode in peace. I'm looking at my face like, bro, sometimes I don't even know what they talking about. Now y'all, I'm following. I'm right here. I'm reading the comments. I'm multitasking. Why y'all on my ass? I'm right here. I can see y'all. Like, what is this? Like episode 96? Y'all don't know the deal? I think I'm fine. Come on, what's up?
96, goddamn.
I was in Lance's chat yesterday. I went I was watching Serfs TV because Lance was watching my video, and his whole audience is like, I don't know who this person is, and watching me on the
No, there's two separations. There's two chats. There was the Twitch chat, and then there was like the Serfs TV chat, and they were like they're all just like standing out like crazy. They're like, oh, our queen, and then the Serfs TV chat was like, I don't recognize this person. Who is this? They're not swearing. There's not like a Bohemian accent. What's going on here? And I was like, I have to do a little tutorial, like a 101 on like, you know, code switching and how to like compose yourself and like, you know, the experience of like, you know, trying to in white spaces as a black woman. Like it was a whole like lecture, like lesson on the spot.
Listen, I went back, and when I was watching y'all, I'm trying to participate in the chat, and then my boy called me, and he was like, he had like a life serious problem. Like, fuck, I'm gonna be a real raggedy friend if I'd be like, oh, I can't pay attention to you because I need to watch the play-by-play of myself. Like, I was like, okay, I had to go back and watch later, and I was like, damn it. So I heard, and I was like, oh, you did that, lads.
Also, to all three chats, yes, sorry, not Bohemian. That was huge.
Yo,
bad.
Look at them. Look at
yeah.
So I'm in the Serfs TV. I have the Serfs TV chat on my phone, y'all. I love the Serfs TV. The Serfs TV chat. I can see the national chat and the Serfs TV chat right now. I have both. I just can't. I have to get the app to be able to type on my phone. So I'm just reading what they're saying on the Serfs TV chat. But I like them. They're very nice. They're very sweet.
Oh, so what's wrong with my chat?
No, I like them too.
I got mentioned, David.
I've never been to Bender's chat. I don't know. Like, I don't know if it's safe over there.
I don't live stream. I don't live stream this. I'm not live streaming it. I just go. I let you guys do it.
I don't. Yeah, I don't know. I haven't checked Mike's. I like David's too. I like Lance's a little. Like, I like Lance's the most.
I'm
you
sorry,
know why?
I'm sorry. In my chat, not everyone has to agree all the time. There's some discussion.
Oh, nuance. What a nice little discourse community you have there. I like Lance's chat because Lance is similarly loud Leo energy. So all Lance's chat is like ready for all. So they're like, oh, I love him. Like, oh, I love it here too. Like, yeah. By the way, Lance, did I tell you people DM me just like, oh, Lance is the cutest, and I'm like, you're just telling me that? Why are you sending me that DM? Why are you DMing me that?
They DM you.
They DM me that you are cute, and I'm like,
that is strange.
Lance, yeah, they love you. They love you. You've got fans.
Big vibes.
Yes.
About to Sleep says, cancel Blair. She's too quiet. Blair is the glue that holds this entire show together. We would be chaos without Blair. You have to understand this, okay? Otherwise, like, it's one of those situations where we would just be talking about, what were we talking about? Heights? We were doing heights for the first little bit, and then something else. Like, it was chaos.
Although somebody in my chat said that the show would probably be boring if we stayed on topic and like didn't get derailed and go on a bunch of tangents. And I think that's fair to an extent. There does need to be some structure, though.
There's balance. Yeah, you have to have a little bit of everything. You have to have like the general topics and the questions to allow us to have the tangents. Because if we were
Right.
pure tangent, it's all chaos. And if we're pure structure, there's no fun or entertainment.
Exactly.
Speaking of chaos, someone said, and someone said Lance and Matt are so loud and no one talks about it. LMAO. So I just wanted to be the one to put it on the record. I said I won't be loud alone. Goddamn it! It's about time you'll fucking join me on Loud Bitch Mount Rushmore. Come, get them. Yes, they fucking are. They're also. It is a trio. Damn it! Like, yes, bring them over here. Yes, they are. Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yes, thank you.
Oh, David, I don't know if I've ever told you this. Every single time you make videos where you're wearing the Canadian tuxedo, my chat loses their shit. Like I cannot
It's
control
rare.
them.
I drop it like once a month.
But there's nothing I could do. There's no way. Like it just like I need a bonking stick to be able to like just run around going like.
Wait, what is the Canadian tuxedo? Is that like all the denim? It is denim. It's just okay.
Summer of '69, Mike. You got to think summer of '69. That's what's like Bryan Adams level. That's the Canadian tuxedo.
That.
Denim everything. Yeah, I know. David will wear like he'll have his denim like jacket. He'll have the denim pants, denim everything. I don't know if it's denim underwear or socks as well.
I am not wearing denim pants when I'm doing anything.
The Canadian tuxedo is all denim.
It's all denim.
Yeah.
I like
Actually,
that.
well, to be fair, I probably wear denim like maybe once a week. I think once every 2 weeks.
Fresh. I feel like that's actually fresh. I feel like that.
I like
crazy.
it.
You got a good denim fit. I feel like I'll probably go nuts. That's fresh.
Denim fetishist.
Like I like denim. I feel like denim.
I like denim
I feel like
jackets.
a man
but,
in
like,
a denim jacket.
I don't think I got to be honest. I don't think I've ever worn like a matching denim jacket and jeans because it would have to be different colors at the very least, like black jeans, blue jacket. I can't do the whole Canadian tuxedo. Just I would feel too weird.
Yeah,
I feel like I could get a man in a fresh ass denim fit. Like, I feel like I could get. Matter of fact, I feel like I could get that off my damn self. I'll give me some time. I'm gonna get me a fresh ass full denim fit. Y'all watch. I'm gonna set up.
Let me know on the same day. I'll wear mine too.
Yeah, we should have a Canadian tuxedo episode.
We should all wear it.
That would
Blair,
be
you
fucking
gotta get
awesome. I could go Canadian tuxedo. I have a jean jacket or a jean like overshirt.
I'll do that.
Yeah, you're the holdout.
I'm very much so here for that. Blair.
Yes, I got you. All right, we got few questions about the anti-trans bill that was passed in Tennessee, which also includes a provision that says any subsequent gender expression subjectively deemed inconsistent with their genitals from birth can be fined for up a year into prison. And I believe that also extends to, if I'm correct, interracial marriage as well. And people are like so shocked about that now, as if that wasn't the whole fucking plan.
I definitely, I definitely was right. I just want to say this. I said all this when they put out the opinion, because they said all this in the fucking opinion. When they overturned Roe, they said as much. They had a whole discussion about unraveling everything that comes from Griswold versus Connecticut, which is where the right to an abortion is originally stems from. This was always the plan. This country is it's a Mickey Mouse operation. I keep saying that. Like it's just a Mickey Mouse operation. This is not, you cannot even feel, it's not even bothering to go for the charade of a democracy at this point, because this can't be real life, right? Like all over the country is literally just blatant discrimination, white supremacy, just hate, just legally sanctioning discrimination. That's all it is. And that's why I've said before a million times, it's a mistake to view the law or view the courts as a champion of civil liberties. That is not the case. What the law has often, mostly what it is there to do is to sanction the bullshit that the rest of the society is on. And that's what you're seeing on steroids, right? And the problem is, to let you know further that the whole system is a farce. There's no sense of democracy, because it's not like Republicans do all these things through legitimate, because they reflect the majority of the country. They reflect a significant amount of chunk of people. I'm not gonna hold you now. They do reflect a bunch of terrible fucking people, but not the majority of the country, in the sense what they do is they usurp, they gerrymander all over the goddamn place. They circumvent everything, and they do their endeavor best. And so they wield power they're not supposed to, and they just trample over people. And we're seeing that on fucking steroids. And that's the reason, my mentor was having a conversation with me yesterday. He's like, people don't talk enough about the fact that the reason why Republicans have to steal everything, they have to steal elections, is because they can't fucking win. You know what I mean? They can't win. And the fact that you have a two-party system and one of those parties could not win the fucking popular vote. Republicans can't win the popular vote in this current time of life. They can't. They cannot do it. So what they do is they just go around and they make a small minority of what is people in their viewpoint reflect everybody else, and they force everybody by tooth and nail. Is sick. It's fucking sick.
Yeah, on the subject of Tennessee, by the way, I don't know if people know this, but Tennessee is currently the anti-LGBTQ capital in the country, with, I believe, 26 or 28 current anti-LGBTQ plus bills being considered as we speak. But what I love is that the universe kind of has a funny way of like catching up with people sometimes.
Sure.
So last week, they signed an anti-drag queen bill into law in Tennessee. What happened? Well, the governor had a photo emerge of him as a drag queen in high school. This week, the lieutenant governor who supported that same anti-drag queen bill, well, it turns out that he was posting on his main on a gay twink's thirst traps on Instagram. That came out, and he had, listen, I have to explain this for you. Okay. So the defense here, let me paint the picture. We can't put the pictures up on screen. I'm doing a video on this tomorrow, by the way.
Yes.
But so basically, they defended him, saying this is ridiculous. He is a 79-year-old great-grandfather. This is innocent. This is innocuous. Let me paint this picture for you. There's a dude with an ass picture, like camera with the ass up, him looking down, and what does this old man comment? Heart emoji, fire emoji, hand clapping emoji. It's not grandpa just being like, oh, great job, son. Like, the dude is taking pictures in underwear with his ass hanging out, and he's like, great fit, or super cool look. It's like he's horny posting on the main. You don't get to use that excuse. So watch my video tomorrow. It is genuinely unhinged. So all of these motherfuckers in Tennessee who are doing all of these anti-LGBTQ plus bills, they're all gay and horny. That's why they can't stop thinking about gay people.
It's just crazy that they're not that this guy. I mean, I guess it's not surprising. We're talking about someone who is not that everyone who's older doesn't know technology, but if you're gonna make a mistake like that, like how does he not know what he's doing? That's completely public.
When you see the 3 hearts and the 3 fire emojis to an underwear pic, he knows what he's doing. Grandpa knows what he's doing.
I'm just like the idea of like a great grandfather using fire emojis is like just that alone for me.
I think to me, I think what this is truly like a representation of what it means to truly like have power and just to occupy a seat for a moment, right? When you look at, someone asked in the comments, they said, isn't Clarence Thomas married to a white woman? And he is, Ginny Thomas, right? And I think the difference between when you look at this, you could see all these Republicans find all these like incredibly right-wing Republicans passing all these homophobic and transphobic laws and stuff, and they can do, despite the fact that when it comes out, right, what they are engaging in their private life, because at the end of the day, these white people are able to be above the law. They occupy, it doesn't matter. They are exempt from this. This doesn't apply to them, right? But even though Clarence Thomas occupies a seat in power, Clarence Thomas made sure to, in that opinion, in his concurrence in the case overturning Roe, he made it a point to outline every single right, every right that descended from Griswold versus Connecticut that should be overturned, should be revisited, except Loving versus Virginia, that granted that made it a constitutional right to be engaged in interracial marriages, right? Because at the end of the day, he cannot afford, with his black ass, he knows good and damn well that he cannot go restructure a world that is going to harm him. He has to make sure he has to make that carve out, because he can never truly be above it. And I think that's an interesting thing when I hear it, what I take away in this conversation about how the difference in how they move, and they're all fucked up. But it's just interesting to recognize, because even though Clarence Thomas is somebody you insist on cooning and not acknowledging the racism of it all, right? Because that's not the team he's chosen. He's still occupied. He still has to navigate and work within that system. Like, it's there, whether or not he admits it. It's transparent in the way that he has to act, because you want to pretend like, oh, it's not racist and all this and blah, 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 but you have to make the carve out. You have to still navigate that racism. So, I keep trying to tell people that don't pay the coon. Yeah.
Mike, I wanted to ask you, because this video is coming out tomorrow. Do you talk at all about Michael Knowles being one of the people who obviously is asking for the elimination of trans people from existing transgenderism, quote unquote, but also saying that all drag queens are groomers and all drag performers are groomers. Did you see that he's a drag performer?
I saw that.
That not only is he not only loves drag performing, but he's done it multiple times. He dressed up as Elizabeth Warren in a very racist costume, and so it seems like he's also a huge fan of hashtag Lady MAGA, who is also a drag performer.
You know, here's what I'll say. In Michael Knowles' defense, if I looked that bad in drag, I would want to ban drag too. So, you know, with the beard, I could rock it better than him.
I was really wondering where you were going with in Michael Knowles' defense. I was like, whoa, what's going on here?
I mean, it's the same with Governor Bill Lee. Like, I don't know if you all saw the photograph. So this is the Tennessee, going back to Tennessee, this is the governor who signed the anti-drag bill into law. The photograph of him in drag in high school, I mean, it's the ugliest fucking drag queen I've ever seen in my life. Like, it's black and white. Like, he's making like this goofy ass face. Like, they're sad that they can't crush it like other drag queens. That's why they have to ban it.
That's true.
It's so sad. Bro, it is so sad. People really make a circus out of politics, and it's crazy because there's a whole country of like all kind of shit happening, just a million like issues and serious problems. Like there is no shortage of that, but the entire media wave and everything just gets like fixated on what are literally manufactured narratives just to distract people and foolishness. And it's so nauseating not to be a part of it, because at the end of the day, it's so fucked up realizing this huge country and millions and millions and millions and millions of people will spend their lives will be forever changed based on what people can do within one span of a lifetime, right? It'll take you how long to undo the foolishness that they're doing right now. It's like, it'll get undone eventually perhaps, but what'll happen in the fucking midst? And there's nothing that you could do about that. Like lives will be lost. That is what's going to happen with all the foolishness that they're doing. And not just like, I don't mean just with like the particular things and how they're attacking these particular laws, but all the millions of things they're doing that we're not hearing about and talking about because they're distracting everybody with bullshit and manufactured fucking problems. It's sad. It's really, really, really sad. It's sad.
Well, and it's
on
like,
that point, I have
you hear about how, they just, everyone's so hyper-focused on identity politics. Who's the ones who's focused on identity politics? It's the Republicans. We're just responding. I mean, I don't want to, I'm literally in a gay marriage. I don't want to talk about gay marriage in the year 2023. I want to move the fuck on and talk about healthcare. I want to talk about taking on capitalism, having workers have more control of the means of production. They're the ones keeping us here. So you can't, blame us for responding and fighting back and fighting to keep all of the gains that we've made. It's just the situation. These are the cards that we've been dealt. Like, people will bring up, everybody's talking about trans people. Who's talking about trans people? It's the right who's talking about trans people.
Overwhelmingly, if you look at the stats on Facebook, it's like, it's such a fucking huge ass market. Oh yeah, it's currency
insane.
Over there.
Trans people have been around forever. All of a sudden, Republicans made this into an issue. With regard to drag queens, again, I think I talked about this a couple of weeks ago, but the Washington Post did an analysis, and there was no anti-drag queen bills for 2015, 2016, 2017. The first bill was in 2022, end of 2022. All of a sudden, there's this huge urgency to ban drag queens. So, I mean, this is a manufactured issue, as Olay said, and people need to get frustrated with Republicans and not like the leftist identitarians, because we're not the ones who are raising the salience of these issues. We're just responding to this. Like, we've got to keep the gains that we've made, so we have to fight. We have no choice.
On that point of distractions, today, Republicans held a hearing on wokeness in government, and AOC actually broke down what was on the agenda, because you might wonder what the hell is wokeness in government.
Fuck me.
And this is a very interesting thing, because it shows you the kind of shit they throw into what wokeness is.
I like the
and
pause.
it's stuff that could actually.
I know, great freeze frame.
Yeah,
perfect face.
Oh yeah, no, you can tell she's fucking. She hates this shit.
We're having a hearing right now, and it's about that the federal government is too woke. I mean, that's seriously what we're hearing. And then there's no definition of what woke is, but on paper, what's actually being criticized in this hearing is that the so-called woke policies are remote work for federal workers, especially those that live in rural areas, and those who have disabilities, paying incomes so
Always
that
has been.
critical
Anti-woke is anti-civil rights.
don't just go to privileged kids whose parents can afford to pay for their rent while they go on a free internship. That is what is woke here. That is what the other side is calling woke here, making sure that OPM can create opportunities and federal careers for partners of military service members. That's woke. This is the woke alleged takeover that we have. That we want wildland firefighters who are putting their lives at risk, increasingly so year after year, that we want to make sure that they stay on the job and have dignified conditions and not leave because they can earn more money as a greeter at Walmart. This is what this whole term woke means. Or diversity and inclusion, so that the people who work in our federal workforce are actually in proportion to the people that live in this country. This is this horrifying woke agenda that the other side is trying so hard to block.
They're just throwing everything into the category of woke as a way to try to do a catch-all. And there was actually, so I did a video on this today. There was a data released today, an Ipsos USA Today poll, showing that most people actually don't mind the word woke. They view it positively. So I have to bring that up. But it's like, I think 30%, 35% view it as an insult, as people being like overly politically correct. And then the other 56% view it as a way that or view it as something that means you're informed, you're educated. So it's not even like, at least as it stands right now, woke is not even viewed by the majority as something to be afraid of, to be, as terrible. And really, the term woke is the whole meaning of it changes context depending on how it's being used. Like it can be used as an insult, but could also mean you're just, informed. But this whole obsession with woke and just throwing everything into it.
I'm going to backflip off my own balcony. It's so it's so nuts how like black people coin phrases for us to use within our community to mean something. White people co-opt this shit. They steal the shit, co-opt it, run fucking wild with it, then make it some negative bullshit that they pretend was put on, like it was us put it on to them, that they not taking. Now they define it like, oh my God, like what an exhausting, tired bunch. Good delivery from God. Ooh, woke. I'm I'm sleep. Just go sleep. Let's everybody just says I'm tired. I'm fucking over it. Just annoying, just stupid shit. I just can't take us. I mean, the country, the people, the world we're living in today. Everything fucking serious is absurd. This is why, people would be go into politics because that's where all serious was power. Do you know how upsetting it would be to where you're supposed to be at the top of where you could really be to do something, and it's fucking performance theater. It's performance theater. It is performance fucking theater. You up there talking about, think about it, the stupid ass conference. That's a conversation we should be having for jokes about. Whoa, they're up there really dead ass in fucking Congress talking that. I feel like AOC's entire energy is I grow weary. I think I'd unravel. I'd be I wouldn't know what to say other than it would be, let me tell you, I would go down in history for the only speech in Congress entitled "Is You Dead Ass?" Because you can't be. I would be blown away. It's just absurd, this level of buffoonery and foolishness.
On that same note, I have to ask if you all saw Lauren Boebert's speech where she talked about how bad sex education was, and then I believe in the same speech, shortly after that, she announced that her 17-year-old son was making her a grandmother at the age of 36. Is that all in the same speech? Am I correct about this?
No. Hold up on that Lauren Boebert thing.
Wait, what? A 17-year-old was doing what?
No. He's 18. The girlfriend was 15, now 16. In Colorado, the age of consent is 17.
Oh.
So we're fucking clear.
Oh.
No way.
Oh.
No way.
I would never announce that.
I didn't even know.
She raised
that
the little
part of it.
groomer. She raised the little groomer.
Holy shit.
Holy shit.
Okay, Groomer.
Just for the record, before anybody
Holy
says
shit.
statutory rape is a strict liability crime, intent doesn't matter under the law. So like whether or not you knew, that's the crazy thing about statutory rape. Like, so say like you could ask somebody how old are you? They tell you this age, they show you a fake ID, everything or whatever. Strict liability. It doesn't fucking matter. They could literally fool you, do whatever. So it doesn't matter what the circumstances. It's strict liability crimes. That's wild. But she white, she powerful, ain't shit gonna happen. But in a different world, strict liability.
Also, so if her,
I have to ask, she met her husband because he was exposing himself to minors, and she was the minor, right? Like we have
was the minor
we have
in
a
the US.
timeline here.
She was with him when he did expose himself. He was 24, she was 17. But yeah, he did expose himself to minors and got perma-banned from that bowling alley. And real quick, before I forget, on the subject of right-wing groomers, so for those of you who didn't see it...
There's so much. There's a lot going on at once right now.
Hold on, go back. Hold on. That's my brain. 17, 24. Who is exposed to groomers? Who's else then?
So okay, Lauren Boebert as a 17-year-old, she was dating her 24-year-old boyfriend. I don't know how long they were dating, but when they were together on a date, as she was 17 at a bowling alley, he exposed his junk to minors.
Yes.
Now, when you say minors, what
we mean teenage
girls.
girls.
And about to Jason exposed to 2 young women. Now, how old were these young? And now, why they call these minors young women? You see how the law? You see how they go for white boys? You see how they go to 2 young women?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, bro. All right. Let me see.
17 at the time is not a young woman.
He took the charge. They was young. They was young. He took the charge. They took the charge. And first, for the record, I've gotten somebody off for a charge like this before. But anyway, you took the charge. Okay. Let me see. Obtain women staying in New York clothes.
Maybe he was proud of it. It's how he met his wife.
And she came and looked at me and pulled down a sock and said, "Look, my look." The word had to have been a minute. Let me read the report. Okay, boom.
It's a good read.
Trish and I was standing at the snack bar, and she came up and looked at my tattoo on my back, and she pulled down her sock and said, "Look, mine is fading." Then Jason said, "I have a tattoo on my dick." Oh my God, loser. Trish and I said, "Yeah, whatever," and turned away to ignore him. Then Susan came up behind us and pulled his penis out. Then Jason came up behind us and pulled his penis out of his pants. His thumb was covering the head. His thumb was covering the head. Oh my God. Not his thumb. Oh no. Okay, his thumb was covering the head, and all I saw was the shop. Ooh. Trish and I turned away and went and told Larry. I was standing at the snack bar because Jason was harassing. Since we came in, they were being really strange all night. That's fucking crazy.
Yeah, that's wild.
Oh my God, your husband is a fucking loser. That's crazy. Oh, hold on, go back. No. Don't go back up. Thumb 6 inches long. That's fine. Go back up to that. I need that. Go up to that. Let me read that. Go up to that paragraph. Come on. Let's see. When Garfield County Sheriff's deputy arrived, McCown told him that he had repeatedly asked Jason Boebert to leave the bowling alley, but that Boebert had refused to leave and became belligerent. Boebert told deputies he had not exposed his penis, but had stuck his thumb through the fly of the pipe as a prank. Oh, not your dick looking like a tiny. Oh my God, I'm sad. Okay, Trisha Whaley's disputed that in her account, writing, "I know that was a thumb because thumbs aren't 6 inches long."
Oh my God.
Lauren Roberts told deputies she had not seen Jason Boebert expose himself. You know how if I'm out with a man, you know what? No, fuck being out with a man. If I at any point learn that a man showed women his dick and immediately what those women felt absolutely compelled to do was call the fucking police. Like, they were like, hey, lock this nigga up. I was like, hey, can't be with him. I can't. You gonna marry him? I didn't tell people that.
They have like 4 kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And now she's gonna be a grandmother.
I mean, it helps to explain how fucking crazy she is.
Yeah. In other
They are
news,
ridiculous
a
people.
child marriage ban in West Virginia was defeated. So there's that.
It's a shame that was even a conversation.
I went to boarding school.
Right.
I went to boarding school in West
Right.
Virginia, so I'm not surprised.
Oh my goodness.
Where I went to high school.
Yeah.
All the people who always target like the LGBTQ community as groomers. Every single man who wears a wig, that's a pedophile. By the way, child marriage, let's make sure that keeps going. Let's make sure 15-year-olds.
Every accusation is a confession.
It is almost
time I tell
comical that every
y'all-
single groomer's on their side. Like it's completely obvious, full projection. Like it's nothing is more obvious.
Every week I'm
Yes.
gonna tell y'all deplorables
Says
is the
so.
least of what she could have said. Every week I'm gonna tell y'all that. Like the least. And I knew it then. I was woke then. I was like, well, I don't know what y'all think is the problem here. I don't get it. That's a pretty mild adjective. Deplorable. That's it. That sounds like just a little bit of a little slap in the wrist. Like that sounds redeemable. Deplorable. Like, that's deplorable. You know, the girl do better. Me, I'd say irredeemable. really getting my fucking back. Monster.
And wasn't it just like I think she said like half of them are deplorable.
Yeah,
It wasn't
she
even
said
like all
half.
of them are.
Not even all of them, just half of them.
It was super charitable.
See? Listen, she got cooked for that. And that was like, you're right, girl. They booing you, but you're right.
That's the
They
most
booing you.
reasonable thing Hillary Clinton has ever said.
Listen,
That was
there
probably
was
like the best part of that campaign. Really is. was that
There was
moment.
a couple times. There was a couple times when I was like, yeah, Hillary, this some bullshit. Like, I feel you. You a white lady, so I'm not gonna like jump on no soapbox for you because you a wild girl, Hillary. But there was a few times I was like, yeah, I'd be mad as fuck. Like, I'm like, yeah, this is some bullshit. This is disproportionate. I'm like, I always remember feeling like she was incredibly. I remember her giving a really good concession speech when she lost. And like, I remember it being like legitimately just objectively a good speech, but independent of what kind of speech it was, I just know in my heart of hearts, I was cursing this country out. Signal, but that listen, no one would have talked. Listen, they would have had to cut the signals. I would have been excommunicated, but that motherfucker would have aged well. Oh, that aged well. Woo! I'd have been in the insurrection like this, y'all. Oh, look at this shit. Okay. I be talking big shit, son. Like, I just be like, ooh, this everybody okay? Right. This your boy. Oh, me and my people. Oh, it was me. Listen, I talk big shit, but I'd have acted a fool. I'd have talked big shit. I'd have been like, some of you say that I should have done my due diligence and campaigned everywhere, and to that I say, fuck you. This man is a fucking demon. Like, what the fuck do you mean? Like, I had to campaigned everywhere. It was between me and a fucking demon. What do you mean? Like, that would have been like, that'd have been nice to be, no, fuck y'all. You want to prove something to me? So enjoy life with a fucking demon. I hope we do demon shit. I hope you feel like you in hell. I hope it sizzle on your ass. And you know what it showed it? It showed it fucking sizzle. It fucking sizzled, didn't it? Emails.
Oh my god. Okay, I think with that it is time for us to determine who we are canceling and uncanceling for the week.
I have some white people business.
Yeah.
I recently came into this hot take. I have y'all seen that Avril, Lavigne and Tyga are together?
Yes, it's
What?
messy.
I didn't know that. Wait, what?
Come on, y'all.
Yes.
Sorry, who?
Skater
Wait, Avril
boy.
Lavigne and who?
She said see you later. Boy.
Tyga.
What?
Tyga.
But that's awesome. Yeah.
Yes. Oh, yes. And I just finished watching a nice
problematic. It's great.
Yes, no, but Avril, check this out. Here, this plot twist. Avril is worse. Yeah, I just finished watching this deep dive video on it right before we came on here. Y'all ain't mind. Avril was fucking engaged to Maud's son on fucking February 23rd. Like this February 23rd.
Engaged to Maud's son?
Yes.
What?
Yes.
I've been out of the loop.
Yes, and she was engaged to him, and he left for tour, and 3 days later, she's fucking being photographed out with Tyga, and the news is asking him. He's like, she was my fiance 3 days ago, and nothing's changed according to me. Like, nothing's changed according to me. If y'all know something different, let me know. Then, like a day later, she's in fucking Paris. In Paris. Like March 1st, she's in fucking Paris, which is where Maudson proposed her, by the way, in Paris, running around Fashion Week with Tyga, making out with him. And that's how he finds out that she's called off the engagement. And my man left himself a heartbroken like paragraph on Instagram. So I say, apparently, y'all's girl is a villain. Avril is, and that's just the tail end of the video. I need to hold on. Ooh, let me bless y'all with this tea. Let me give y'all a link. Please.
Should we give some Canadian history here? Should we talk about how Avril Lavigne was married to Nickelback's frontman?
Yes.
And that was
Yes.
Like,
I'm going
that's
to
if you want to immigrate to Canada and actually like go through the process, that's a question they'll ask you. You know, you have to both pledge allegiance to the King of England, and also you have to know the fact that Avril Lavigne at one point was married to Chad Kroeger.
And before that, she was with the Sum 41 guy.
Yeah, the Sum 41.
Right.
Listener, yeah.
Right.
She's that madman. Give the link that I put in our Twitter chat, please. Give it to the our thingy chat and tell them, please comment on the YouTube video and tell them I sent y'all.
I'm about to sound like a real boomer. I don't know who Maud's son is.
Me? It's white people business. I only.
But wait. It gets worse.
Turned like
I didn't know
kind of a punk singer like Machine Gun Kelly.
It gets worse though. When you said Avril Lavigne is with Tiger, I was like, oh, Tiger Woods.
No, honestly, no. I thought that too. I was like, Tiger.
Oh, okay,
Tiger?
good.
That's why I asked the second time. I was like, what?
Tiger.
Correct me if I'm wrong here, but this is shitty behavior from Avril, but wasn't Tyga fucking Kylie Jenner while he was with Black China when Kylie Jenner was underage and waited till she turned 18?
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Yes and no. The evidence is so I would say that the evidence is leaning towards a conviction. However, so yes, they were seeing her hanging about a lot for like, you know, because he was friends with the family, obviously, because Black China was best friends with Kim, yada 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 yada. And then like, you know, when she was like 16, 17, people started seeing them hang out, and it was like, no, we friends, da, da, da. And then right when she turned 18, they came as a couple. So I don't know if they was fucking before they was here, but he certainly was involved. It's inappropriate. Definitely unacceptable.
It's
definitely
it's like, yeah, I would classify that as yikes. I'd file that under yikes. You know, that's
me too.
Yeah,
Look, that's why I say they're two terrible people. I hope the worst for them. The end.
See, you know, the defense attorney, man, I ain't saying they terrible or you know, I wish the worst on them. I can't say all of that. All I can say is messy. Lots of yes. He feels incredibly hot. Me personally, I would defend all these people in the court of law vigorously with not a problem, with bad eyes. So
sorry, who we canceling? Avril Lavigne?
Oh, I was throwing it up because I guess, you know, Avril.
Yeah, we can cancel Avril.
Yeah,
I don't care enough, so whatever.
Yeah, why not?
I was gonna cancel Katie Porter.
Yeah. What are they?
That's better. That's better.
Well,
People know about this.
That's a little more
Make
applicable to our
Actually,
podcast.
I will vote for that.
Yeah, that was my vote this week.
I'd say I still love her.
Incredibly familiar.
Right. She's the progressive congresswoman who always has like the whiteboards, and she's grilling CEOs, and she goes viral.
So good at it.
Yeah, she's very, very good. But she wants to be a U.S. senator, and she doesn't want the AIPAC and Israel lobby coming after her. I'm assuming. So she went to Israel, had a meeting with war criminal and apartheid overseer, far-right Benjamin Netanyahu, and talked about how impressed she was with him. And I read the whole article and what she said about him, and like she tries to make it seem as if like, oh, she did some tepid pushback. No, she didn't. She both sides did. It was just really gross. She was doing apologia for apartheid. You could still support the other things that she does. And ethnic
Like,
cleansing, yeah.
You're right. That's what it is. It has to be called out for what it is.
Yep.
Like,
So she supported that. She put her name on it. Now she's on the wrong side of history.
Okay, we can cancel her.
So yeah, it
Yeah,
hurts
I'll agree on
with a
this
heavy heart, but we've got to do it.
Yeah, that's a shitty one. I'll second.
It's also very doable because there's Barbara Lee in the race as well. Who, at
Exactly.
this point now, is a better candidate. So
Yes. Barbara Lee's statement on this was phenomenal because Barbara Lee commented on how Benjamin Netanyahu is trying to basically do a power grab where the legislature or parliament can basically override the Supreme Court, which is paving the way for a constitutional crisis. And like Barbara Lee didn't mince words. Like she called that out. I retweeted her tweet. It was a great post. So she's much more clear-cut. She's been more consistently anti-war and progressive. You know, she's not perfect. No politician is perfect. But in terms of, like, the California Senate race, I'm enthusiastically supporting Barbara Lee now. I think that we need, like, more very lefty anti-war people. And Barbara Lee really is that. Like, with Katie Porter doing this here, I don't think that, like, we should just disregard her and cancel her forever. The problem, though, is that she just kind of exposed herself as somebody who's willing to make decisions on the basis of political expediency. And perhaps she's doing this because she believes, okay, well, if I get elected and I don't have this lobby spinning against me, I could do progressive things. That's fine. Like, that's a calculation that you're free to make. But I don't have to support it. I support Barbara Lee, who's more principled and consistent.
And if it comes down to like Schiff and Porter, I think it's obvious Porter still over Schiff.
Right. Right.
But we'll see how the runoff goes.
I say we cancel both. Fuck it. Why do we have to cancel one
There you
person?
go.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
So who is
Leftist
uncanceled?
Mafia. We have the power.
Yeah,
Hell
let's go.
I could
Katie
bring up
Porter and Avril Lavigne. Gone, baby.
I could bring up an uncanceling. The problem is that it's going to be a whole ass can of worms. And David kind of brought this up a couple of weeks ago. I don't know. It's a whole can of worms. We're going to be here for like another half an hour.
Well, I have to know now what this is about.
Who is it?
Mr. Beast?
No, you're grounded.
I can't participate. We have interacted
Wait, you're
directly.
gonna uncancel him for what?
No, I
cancel him.
sure.
Are you fucking serious? Oh, I have a video clip if you're gonna do that. I will.
I feel like there's more
on the
reason
spot.
today to cancel. I'm seeing like more shit coming out. I'm like, okay, this is
Well,
enough.
I
This
was
guy's too
talking.
much.
So my whole mindset of uncancellation was after the blindness thing. Like it's ultimately like he did a good thing, but trying to farm like engagement and content out of that, it still feels really gross.
Doesn't he have a new one now where it's like he gave like shoes to kids in Africa?
Yeah, it
Like,
feels so gross.
like that, I'm just like, what the what?
Yeah.
And he's liking tweets that are like defending. It's just like,
Yeah.
dude.
And
just
there's also a video of
something
him
else.
talking to a homeless person that came out, and
Yes.
he's like,
Thank you.
he's like, you don't mind me using you to get clicks and views, right, or something to that nature. And he's like, oh no, I don't care. He's like, see, he doesn't care if we use him for content. So it's like, okay,
It wasn't the first time. It wasn't the first time. He's also a fucking cryptocurrency scammer. He's also done tons of like the list is endless.
Oh, yeah, the
He
crypto stuff.
downplays the severity of fucking people who are tortured in prison. Okay, solitary confinement is torture. It's been defined as torture by the American psychological foundation. He did a whole thing where he was like, for $20,000, live inside the solitary confinement. I'll remove one object. Can't downplay that shit, motherfucker. People like they legit like it's so fucked up. I'm sorry. I could go off about Mr. Beast for a long time.
The cherry
Also,
on top
don't
for me
forget-
are his thumbnails where he puts himself in them. Just like over the top, like look how I
YouTube
saved
face.
this kid. Look how I saved all these people.
He's
It's
like
oh my
soy
God.
facing with
Just get
shoes
yourself
around
on a
his
thumbnail
head
and you would
with the
immediately have like a
title.
lot more support.
The final boss of saviors. That's what he is.
I give
Like, this is
2,000
the
shoes
final
to kids
boss.
in Africa, soy facing with shoes everywhere. It's like, oh my god, this is so dystopian.
It is.
This is lesser too, but earlier this week he also put out a tweet asking his fans to go around to stores and clean up his chocolate displays.
Yes, it's unpaid labor. And so many people did it. They filmed themselves. I've never seen bootlicking like this, where they're just like, Mr. Beast, look, I've done what you wanted, sir. Look at the new display. And the height of the Hershey's controversy, when Hershey's was directly associated with transphobia, he was like, by the way, can you replace the Hershey bars in the display with mine? And deleted that. And deleted it because well, what the fuck?
Yeah, he probably
Wait,
did.
he what? I missed this. I missed it. Wait, whoa, I missed this one.
100%. yes, I have it on my timeline. Go on Twitter. He had a tweet that was like, hey, by the way, if you could replace all the Hershey bars on the day where Hershey's did that ad, it was the same day. That was the focus of the conversation. He's like, lol, could you replace the Hershey bars, wink kind of thing, with my chocolate bars? And then deleted that tweet. That's a matter of public record. I will
defend him limitedly, in that sense. He probably didn't know about the Hershey's thing, because I didn't even find out about the Hershey's thing until after he said it, and it was kind of controversial.
Y'all brought this up to uncancel?
Well, I wasn't sure if anyone wanted to uncancel, because I know that during the.
But what did he do? What did he do that requires that you feel makes him deserving of an uncanceling? What did he do
to chase for cancellation number 3 of the night is what we're doing.
Yeah, it seems like it's going that way. But I was interested in canceling him for the eye surgery shit. Like, I think that was fine. That video was okay. I think that he did a good job of, like, bringing this issue to light, and for the first time kind of used his platform more responsibly and seemed like he was introspective. He posted about how I don't understand why curable blindness is a thing. So my whole response to that was, I don't think that this is worthy of the controversy, just because he's trying to use his platform in a more responsible way, seemingly.
I think monetizing poverty tourism is what it is. It doesn't matter how you try to reframe it.
Right.
Sure, that's fair. Okay. Yeah.
Oh my god.
This is the one that he deleted.
To be fair, Mike, your video, the day that Mr. Beast responded to me on Twitter, and I was the bad guy of Twitter, like I was literally the target of Twitter that one day, was the one that kind of made me delete the tweet, where I was like, ultimately, if people right now in the US are talking about this, if the conversation is about the fact that we should have universal healthcare, because like I can't do that Mr. Beast sketch in Canada. Do you know why? Because that procedure is covered here. So anyone, and I like one of my best friends, his mom got that procedure no cost out of pocket. So I can't do the like, I'm going to give everyone the gift of sight. I'm Jesus Christ, come manifest. I can't do that here, and like that's important. And I would rather.
Well, you can go around going. I'm giving all of Canada the power of sight.
Just take credit for universal health care. There you go.
Hell yeah! Jesus is what, like 9 people he gave vision to. I got millions, son. It's great. It's awesome.
So we have no one to uncancel.
Yeah, no one cancel. I agree with Blair.
Once again.
Triple cancel, no one cancel. Triple cancel.
Okay.
Yeah, we're going hard this week.
We are very punitive on this podcast, but that's okay.
We really
We are literally a mafia. Okay, we're not like a courtroom.
Is there an uncancel? I'm trying to think if there's anybody that can be uncanceled. No,
not really.
I can't. You can't uncancel anybody, because people don't get jokes, and people don't get they go,
I'm not sure I should bring this up, Olay, but I saw I didn't read too much into what was going on. Yeah, Chris Rock.
Oh yeah,
yeah, and I am. Listen,
this is an inter-community discussion,
though. Listen,
should we uncancel you because apparently you were canceled this week?
Bro, it's so fucking crazy. And let me tell you something. I decided though after that, I was like, I'm never explaining myself again. Like, no, honestly, I was like, because I realized, and my friend really put it to me, and they were like, it's always going to be something where you feel like you need, you got to do it, or you got to say something. And like, quite frankly, I thought about it, and I was like, you know what? This is fucking unreasonable and ridiculous, and I need to stop sitting here and pretending like it is. Like, I'm having a bunch of people decide that liking Chris Rock is the like litmus test for all things true fucking advocate. Have motherfuckers telling me and then I remember, honestly, I really had to think about that and had to really sit with that outside of the world that they live in. And I remember this time I was talking to my boy Malcolm about, feeling all this, like I'm not doing enough, or I need to always be doing more as an advocate and blah, blah, blah. And he was like, yo, how many people you got out of jail? And I was like, probably like 1,000, somewhere around. And he's like, if you stop doing shit for the rest of your days right now, you'd have done more shit than most everybody in their life. And I was like, you know what? Actually, right. Fuck y'all. Fuck y'all, because I didn't have a take. This is what's so unreasonable about the internet. I didn't have a take. I didn't say I didn't have a take. All these people going, oh, this take, I didn't have a fucking take. I said Chris Rock was my favorite comedian. So I was happy that he had a stand-up. That the stand-up hadn't even come out. It wasn't even playing. I was saying that I was happy one was coming out, because Chris Rock is one of the most famous popular comedians, stand-up comedians of all time. When did we, like, you only clearly just now took up this position that we don't watch anything that he's in because you watched the Oscars he was hosting last year, right? So it's after this, and I feel like it's poor defense attorney-ish. Like, what they want to do is defend Will Smith against respectability politics and white people's bullshit, which they should. He's right. And I defended that then tooth and nail, but it becomes a whole larger conversation. Instead of even becoming about that, it becomes about making Chris Rock the beacon, like a symbol of hate. And like, listen, criticize him. Feel free to criticize him about everything that you think is misogynistic, or every time you think he's been anti-black, or every problem you have with him, dislike him, all these different things. But it's like, how did that somehow become like I blinked my eye and it was like, no, you can't even, like, you have to be under the impression that everything about him is discardable, that he's not, there's no art. Like, I can't even, I'm like, well, like, oh, I'm not even surprised that this hate for more. And then there are other people like, oh, I'm surprised. But no, I'm like, first of all, I grew, my family is a big Chris Rock household. Like, I grew up on stand-up comedy. I'm a big stand-up comedy person. That's why I'm a funny bitch. Like, I like stand-up comedy a lot. Like, and so Chris Rock stand-up, like, never scared. And the bigger the blacker, like, the first stand-up comedies I ever watched. Like, I remember in the first grade, high school starts in grade 7 in the Bahamas. So the night before, my daddy was watching them in my house, and he would never let me watch that. So I'm under the blanket, like, choking, trying not to laugh. And I couldn't, like, watch stand-up on my own until, like, left for boarding school. So it's like, yeah, you want me to sit up and pretend like I have not watched Chris Rock stand-up comedy for literally half my life and enjoyed it. And I also think it's unfair to pretend like all these people just conflating like some moments to his entire comedy. Someone was like, oh, all he does is make black women the butt of the joke. All he does? Like, I'm like, but there's not even a space for, there was not even like, I'm like, bro, what I didn't make no position. I did nothing. And somehow I have all kind of people, you realize like these people have just been waiting to jump on you about any motherfucking thing. They're like, all these people going, oh, I'm not surprised, but they're not saying how. Or I never trusted her, but you're not saying how. And I really thought to myself, I was like, you know what? As a bitch who does the work that I do, as hyper visible as I am all day, each day, every fucking day for years on end, motherfuckers like don't like me very strongly, so much so that they have clearly been waiting for anything to get on me for, so much so that their biggest crime against me that has them talking to me from the top of a fucking pulpit is that I said I like Chris Rock as a comedian. You don't got shit on me. I'm an unproblematic bitch. Fuck y'all. I thought about it after I was like, I should have just took that fucking bleed, son. I was like, hey, I thought about it too. I was like, let me just be clear, not a motherfucker ratioed me, not a fucking one. But anyway.
Well, how are you supposed to know
like that
every
sometimes,
single
where there's
person's
just like
bad positions?
There's just like
I want to say
they grab onto something
and zero.
Any disagreement at all with that one opinion for that 1 week, it's like you are canceled. Like it doesn't. There are moments that happen on Twitter where it's just like there's a zombie mob and you can't. There's no, you know what I mean? Like there's no brain. They're just moving in for the kill.
A defense attorney who is an abolitionist believes or is like, not for nothing. No, I really be trying to figure out what people think I do for a living when they be saying shit to me like, oh, I can't believe you would. You can't believe I would what? I would represent the motherfucking court. Either way, if one of them had slapped, if two of them had slapped the fucking shit out of everybody in the room, I would represent both of them. I wouldn't give a fuck. I'm like, why are you acting like this is inconsistent? Like, as my stand, I'm a person who believes that you should eradicate the entire fucking criminal system. I believe that we should be dealing with things in a far more punitive way. It should be nuanced. It should be discussion. We should be finding ways to bring people. I believe that. I am a bitch who has literally put up whole discussions online before on Twitter about me trying to talk to my friend who I realized like who I was calling in about. I'm like, bro, you're definitely an abuser. Like I've never been a person who's advocated, especially within my own community. You believe that I believe we're not problematic. We all are raised in a society. I say this all the time. We're all being educated in the same racist society. So if you think that black people are not internalizing anti-blackness like everybody else, you're a fucking liar. They are. If you think that men, especially men of the times before, are not fucking perpetuating misogyny or patriarchy in some way, yes, they are. Does that mean they are all evil, irredeemable people that, can't be talked to, can't be reasoned to, that there's no value that's in any of their work, or that they are entirely malicious and all? No, that's not fucking true. But there never wants to be nuance for that position on Twitter. And what's crazy to me is like, you explain, and that people can't argue with that intellectually. They can't push back as to where that's an unreasonable position. So what they instead say is that, well, you should expect that people are be mad about that position. You should have whatever. And it's like, so I should reasonably anticipate that you are going to be irrational and hostile towards me, so I should adjust and behave in that way. And you are telling me, you can't actually tell me where there's a true evil and what my position is, but you're telling me that I should not fucking express it because you're going to act this way any kind of how, which then you would then also indict me for being fake and being a constructed persona that doesn't really tell you anything honest. And I thought about it and I was like, you know what? That's my own, like, mind you, cool, whatever, you explain yourself, you know, da-da-da-da-da. But I was like, you know, ultimately, if you're going to be a bitch that is going to be out here or like advocating that they like take away the entire criminal system and you do all these things, blah, blah, you got to be able to, I'm not about to be given everything the same kind of energy. And that's my thing that I want the entire left to be imparted, that no one thinks about. And this is something I have to remind myself as of somebody who's chronically online and on Twitter a lot. It's easy to forget that everything is not fucking equal in importance. And like, we have this tendency to come out on a position and then act like all these positions are equal. There's no fucking reason under the sun why you're going as hard about Chris Rock, Jada Pinkett, Will Smith, a bunch of fucking millionaires, like it's fucking police brutality. That has become your fucking litmus test for who is a true progressive this morning. That is fucking ridiculous. It is fucking stupid. It is nonsensical. And everybody can kiss my black ass. That's my official position. I ain't explaining myself, not never, no more again. Thank you.
You're 100% right.
Thank you, y'all. I really appreciate that because that's a song been on my chest. I was like, ooh, but I'm not about to die on this hill and make this. I was like, you know, I'm not about to hemorrhage myself for this Chris Rock, but boy, am I tight.
So this week we have uncanceled Olay. There we go.
Well, no, she's made her.
Never canceled.
She's made her case. I don't think we voted on the issue yet, bro.
Fair. All right, let's do it then. All right, let's make it.
All right, Olay, you're uncanceled.
All right, I'll second that. Uncancel.
Same.
Thank you.
Can I make a really quick pitch to uncancel myself? Because I posted a video talking about Matt Taibbi getting rolled by Debbie Wasserman Schultz, and I saw one comment on YouTube that was like, huh, of course you're agreeing with Debbie Wasserman Schultz now. I can't believe how far you've fallen. Such a DNC shill or something like that. It's like, motherfucker, I start the video by saying, horrible news, the worst person ever just made a great point, and you're trying to cancel me for like giving her a modicum of credit for the questioning. Like, come on.
Liberal. That was going to happen, though.
Scumbag lib. I knew it. I knew you were a scumbag lib, Mike.
He wants context,
make
nothing.
I really think the internet has made us all start viewing things in the light of like, what can I critique? Like, you're looking for things in the gap rather than like thoughtful conversation. And I think there's been a lot of it's interesting. We like simultaneously operate like we're in like college political theory echo chambers without acting like we're in college classrooms that like require discourse. Because like I thought about that today when like somebody did a similar thing to me, Mike, about my essay I just published on Illuminaughtii yesterday. One person was like, oh, I don't appreciate a black woman making a negative spin on things. Clearly didn't read the article. I was like, what is she talking about black women? I start
that interaction on Twitter.
Yes, yeah.
Because I read the article, I didn't understand. Granted, I'm white, so maybe I just don't understand the nuance.
No, she's fucking tripping. No, okay. Absolutely tripping. And I'm just like, and I'm like, you know, I think people have forgotten what it is that like some things are just meant to be pondered. Like some things are questions of the larger discourse. There's no answer. You're like in dialogue with people. That's what like reading and writing and like respond. I'm like, you don't remember doing fucking response essays? Like there are books because, and I think people forget that like with like writing things and hearing different perspectives is you are not meant to have your perspective mirrored back at you by every fucking person that's not you. You know, like Toni Morrison talks about that a lot as a writer is you can only write from the perspective in your own lived experiences, right? And people go into people's reading somebody else's perspective and what is their reality and their truth and their lens. And they go into that thinking about whether or not they agree or disagree. And it's not really for you to feel that way. And I think I thought about that today with that person saying that to me, because I'm like, I don't think we approach like what is reading and writing the same way because like I have books like I have a book called Why Didn't We Riot by Isaac J. Bailey that I love that I have on and I follow him on Twitter and he's great and he is a black journalist who's a Christian who's in the South, so his perspective is something that is not like mine, so I'm not reading it and like agreeing, you know what I mean, or sharing that, but I was wow, this is really insightful and a different perspective. But other people read things and they're like, well, why isn't it my purpose? You know what I mean? And I was like, it's not meant to be. It's not meant to be, but it's supposed to make you think and respond and think about your perspective too, and like want to expand on that. But yeah.
Well, and I was going to say, to even make it more general in a sense, when we first started and even agreed to make the Leftist Mafia, we had people immediately who came out the gate who said that certain of us in here are not progressive enough, or this, that, and the other thing. And because we do have different backgrounds, we do have different viewpoints on things, but that we collectively agree that we are all generally heading towards the same correct direction, even with different variations. And people on the internet couldn't fucking stand that initially. Like, how dare y'all associate with these other people or whatever the fuck it was? And I was like, it's okay to not fucking agree about everything. That's how you learn different viewpoints. You can't counter different viewpoints if you've never encountered them. You don't know how to interact with shit you've never played around with before. You have to know what everyone's saying.
Yeah, or at the very least, like, there needs to be like just, I think people forget that in real life you have conversations with people all the time. Like, you have friends that you don't like agree with, and you and you just have those conversations, and it's not beef. And I think, like, and that's something and I've said this before, especially in our early episodes, I don't think is valued enough in the spaces that we're in. Just like people not trying to like get a gotcha, or like navigate something, or have some kind of controversy, or have some kind of fight, or it's like something for engagement. Like, oh, let's just have like, we can have positive discussions and have the different kinds of views and spectrum in the room, and like everybody can be chill and not be like high stress intensity and all these different things. But I think, you know, we've shifted into such a, I don't even want to say outrage culture, because I don't think it's truly about even that it's about outrage. It's about engagement, and outrage is just the way that people, you know, they fuel that, and so that becomes like tension and all these things that are just not wonderful, not great.
Yeah, I feel like the show, like the reason why our show works is because like we have pretty similar senses of humor, and you know, we vibe. Like, it feels like a hangout session almost. So like, you know, it doesn't have to be always outrage and clicks like fucking, oh my god, Olay destroyed Lance during this. Like, it can just be like us talking about lefty things. Sometimes we might have some disagreements, but you know, it doesn't have to be always oppositional, right? It doesn't have to be a zero-sum game every single time we put a post on social media or make a video.
Yeah, exactly.
No, that nail right on the head.
And on that note,
all right,
thank you all. I think I'm
have
ready
a
to go.
great night, everyone.
Oh wait, hold on, wait, hold on. Let me put my link to my iilluminaughtii essay in the group chat so y'all can give it to the comments. Read my essay.
I'll do that.
And also
YouTube, subscribe to my YouTube channel, youtube.com/MattBinder. Also twitch.tv/MattBinder. Follow me on Twitter @MattBinder. I'm Matt Binder wherever you look for me. So yeah, just don't forget to do that.
Yeah.
If you want to have your mind exploded, go to youtube.com/@mindexplosions and go sub. It's a really fun new channel where you can learn fun facts about sloths, and also how Disney extends copyright law and racism. You'll have a great time.
I'm excited
for
that. Also, please subscribe to my second channel. If you will look, I've been posting Leftist Mafia clips almost every single day. And if you want me to keep doing that, then watch it. Otherwise, I'm not going to take the time to cut them up. So please check that out. Subscribe. The channel is just Mike Figueredo. It's in my Humanist Report YouTube channel links. Check it out if you want me to keep doing it.
There we go.
Yes. All right. Toodaloo, y'all. Bye.
Peace. Bye. See you all next week.
Bye.
Bye, folks.
I will stay for super chats, people.
All right, everyone. Before I leave, I want to take some time to go over super chats. I know that we actually did get a couple today, so let me pull up the super chats and I'll read them. I know we got some Twitch subs too. I also see Alice Alt Image just sent in a bit. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. Let's see. Where are the super chats? Let me find it. Okay. So we have Lizzie Bennett with a $20 super chat. Lizzie, thank you so much. That's so kind of you. She says, I think you were right about Mr. Beast, but... Oh, and it cuts it off. Let me see if I can see the full thing. I think you were right about Mr. Beast, but he shows how dystopian the U.S. is becoming for clicks. That's uncomfortable in my opinion. By the way, ever thought about having progressives like Cult of Dusty on Leftist Mafia as a guest? I would love that. I actually really like Cult of Dusty. I don't get to see his streams all the time, but I try to tune in whenever I can, and I really like Cult of Dusty, so that would actually be really cool. I would love to have him on. We have JL with a $5 super chat. Super agree, great mix. I'm not sure what that's in reference to, but thank you so much. We have Boogie Bugs with a $10 super chat. Peace and love. I didn't know this group existed. It's cutting it off in YouTube. Let me find it again. I didn't know this group existed. I follow some of you already, though. Got to study for an exam tomorrow, but I'll be back like Schwarzenegger. Okay, well, thank you so much. Good luck on the exam. Study hard, and yeah, appreciate that. Laugh out Liberty. I'll read your comment. Just give me a second. Look at look at Mike prioritizing those who paid money. Ah, the beauty of capitalism. I see your chat, motherfucker. Give me a second, okay? Give me a second. Daperize with the $2 super chat. Wish I could donate, split between you all. Thanks. Well, I appreciate that. Thank you so much. And that is it for YouTube. Let me pull up Twitch really quick here. Yeah, you didn't think I'd see that, huh? Laugh out Liberty. I believe it or not, if you want me to chat with you and interact with you more, on my normal Wednesday Twitch streams, I interact with the audience the entire time. You all can attest to that. But I don't interact with the audience as much during Leftist Mafia because I'm trying to give my attention to my co-hosts. So that's one thing to keep in mind. We cancel Mike Figueredo. Hey, you don't get to make the rules, okay? Okay, so let's see here. Don James 1676. Thank you so much for the resub. Hello, Mike, bouncing from David's channel too. A lot of you going back and forth. Also, Hildebeest came in with the raid of 23 viewers. Thank you so much, Hildebeest. I really appreciate that. I think that's it. Oh, and I gotta send a huge thank you to Riverboat Jack, who rated us yesterday with 80 viewers. I totally missed that when I was ranting and raving about something. I can't remember what though. So yeah, thank you all so much. Okay, so real quick, I've been a fan of Mike for 6 years. No shit, that's insane. I appreciate that. Love the beard. Thank you. Thinking of Bliss. Thank you so much. You know, it's a little bit big right now, but you know, I'm probably not gonna trim it for a little bit. Okay. So let me get to the question that Laugh Out Liberty wanted. Let's see. LOL lefties. What was it that you wanted to ask, Laugh Out Liberty? I'm not seeing your comment. You just wanted to talk smack, didn't you? I fucking knew it. You didn't even have a question. Mike, talk to the brothers at Midas Touch. I'm not in contact with them. I'm not actually sure who they are behind the scenes, but I do appreciate the work that they put out. Celeste, thank you so much for the $3.99 super sticker. Totally cute. I really appreciate that. Hey, Mike, what's it like knowing Progressive Voice? I mean, Progressive Voice is my nephew. So, you know, he's my nephew. Love him. Good kid. Mike, can $1.99 super chat from 0PE. I'm seeing that now. Mike, can you have on Andrea Cyber Demon as a guest? I would love to. I love Andrea. Yeah, for sure. I would love to make that happen. There's so many people right now that we are all kind of like floating, bringing on, but like down the pipeline, I definitely would love to bring her on. Lizzie Bennett with a $5 super chat. Thank you so much. By the way, Mike, you got to do something about your evil twin, Matt Walsh. How dare you, Lizzie? No, it's true though. Like, he does look like an evil version of me, and it's not like, I mean, it's not like my look is that unique. Like, there's a lot of dudes who have the beard and glasses. So you know, but yeah, I hate that there's even a modicum of like similarity between us aesthetically. I hate that so much. But yeah, I do got to do something about that. Get him canceled. Mike, can you thank you for wishing I could send. You don't have to send money to. I don't. Usually the chat is pretty dead this late, so I don't stick around that often. I just try to read the super chats. But I mean, I'm certainly open to taking questions. Again, if you want to like interact with me more directly on Wednesdays, I'm always much more talkative with the chat. I just, whenever there's a guest on, I try to prioritize my attention there, so that way I'm not being rude and I can have a more engaging conversation. I can't unsee the Matt Walsh thing now. It's unfortunate. I hate that. He needs to shave his beard, right? If you look at the old pictures of Matt Walsh, he wore like, I don't know if it was a fedora or a bucket hat, with his face was just like scruffy. He looked so much more creepy. I mean, he still looks really creepy. Like, if you compare me and him, I think that I wear this aesthetic a lot better because I'm like, if you come to Portland, I'm a dime a dozen. You see dudes with glasses and beards and tattoos everywhere. But Matt Walsh, it's like his version of it isn't necessarily, it's not like a hipster aesthetic. It's like a creepy authoritarian religious aesthetic. I don't know how to even describe it, but it's just very creepy, right? So I rock it much better. But I'm more handsome than him, so, you know, that's to be expected. Mike's real name is Matt Walsh. Yellow butterfly. Don't you dare do me dirty like that. That's terrible. That's terrible. Would you guys ever have some more news as guests? I would love that. That would be incredible. Folks, let me tell you, there's so many people that I would love to see come on the program. And it's so hard. It's so hard because we only do the show once a week, right? But at some point in time, we're going to bring on a bunch of motherfuckers. Every single guest you all want to see, I feel like at some point, and every popular lefty is going to be on. Because when we bring on guests, it really is a ton of fun. So yeah, that's a good recommendation though. Some more news. Yeah. The difference is that Mike doesn't look like his whole life revolves around self-loathing. I'm like, well, yeah, that's true. That's a good point. Yeah. All right. Well, folks, let's call it right there. I'm exhausted. I will see you all next Wednesday for a regular Twitch stream. Next Thursday for the Leftist Mafia, of course. And yeah, have a good evening, folks. Take care.